instead of Joe Flacco. Offensive coordinator Tommy Rees on the change.
Felt like it was the right time for it. He's put in a lot of work to put himself ready to play, so guys have rallied around him. We got to all do our part to make sure that we can elevate the play of the quarterback and get the quarterback playing well. So I know Dylan's chomping at the bit.
Meanwhile, Myles Garrett considered limited on Thursday as the Browns just did a walkthrough getting ready for the Vikings in London on Sunday. Garrett did not practice on Wednesday, been dealing with an ankle injury suffered in the loss against Detroit. Browns going to be on the practice field this morning. Later on, we are going to hear from head coach Kevin Stefanski live here on 92.3 The Fan. Thursday Night Football on 92.3 The Fan. San Francisco beats the LA Rams in overtime, 26-23. Mac Jones playing for the injured Brock Purdy, passed for 342 yards, 2 touchdowns. 49ers improved to 4-1 on the season. The Rams got a pretty good effort from Matthew Stafford, 389 yards, 3 touchdowns, but the Rams fall to 3-2. Can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Schneemann rolls it down to first. Torkelson will play it himself. And the Detroit Tigers are on to the American League Division Series.
It stings for it to end that way. I couldn't be more proud of them, of what we accomplished. It's not enough. We want more. And I think that's really the message is let this sting. We're close. We are really close. We're not quite there yet. There's things we need to improve upon. There's things we need to get better with.
There's only one team at the end of the year that's happy. 29 other teams are disappointed in one way or another. We have a lot to be proud of. What we did, what we overcame during the regular season to give us a chance is all we could really ask, but we're extremely disappointed.
There's a lot of mixed feelings. The predominant feeling is devastation because everybody on this team rode the lows and the highs together, and the lows and the highs this year were as extreme as you can create, and for it to come to a halt this quick feels terrible.
It's hard because you know that room's going to look different. It's the way it works everywhere. This will be the last time those guys are all in the same room, and there's no ending of the season. It doesn't end gradually. It just halts. We've been with each other every day for 8 months, more time with each other than our family, working together, laughing together, crying together, yelling together, you name it, and now it stops. It stings when you're not the team that wins the last game of the year. Doesn't matter how far you make it. That's our goal. We show up every year to win a World Series. No excuses. Nothing else. That's our goal. And when you come up short, it stinks.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
It's all over. The Guardians' season has come to a close. They lose yesterday 6-3. Couldn't get guys in scoring position when they could. They couldn't get them home. Sloppy defense all wild card series long. And the pitching ran out of gas. They fall to Detroit 2-1. The Tigers moving on, take on the Mariners. The Guardians, get ready for hot stove Guardians. Where are they going to spend all that money? It's all over. Dale Ryder is in for Ken Carman. Kenny making his return trip. Maybe we hear from Kenny today. He was very hot and bothered yesterday via the text. We've got Owen, we've got Mitch, we've got Joey in the back doing all sorts of videos that get us in trouble. We're on YouTube Live. Feel free to come on in and join us. Even the Shador fans, come on in and join us and talk some baseball. We're happy to have you here on a Friday. Vogt, you heard him. He says every team, they have this feeling at the end of the year when they don't win the World Series that it is disconcerting. It's disheartening. It's the end of the road. And now we open up the phone lines. 216-474-0092. I promised everybody, I did say while they were going on this amazing, historic run, a month of September to remember, an all-timer, wiping out 15 and a half games. I told everybody who were poo-pooing it, who told me who cares, who told me they can't win a World Series, who then wanted to complain about payroll. I said, now is not the time. They were doing something historic. They were getting praise from the baseball community. They were the talk of not only baseball, but sports. ESPN had them as the headliner the final week and a half of the year. Look at this Guardians team with all their might. Look at them go. Look at what they've accomplished. I said now was not the time to have the conversations that a lot of the haters wanted to have. Today, as we flip the calendar, it is October 3rd. The Guardians are eliminated. They didn't have enough hitting. The defense was abysmal. I thought both teams just abysmal. Does every play need to be a roller coaster in the infield? Really, for both teams. Either way, it's all over. Now is the time. 216-474-0092. Daryl, you were there yesterday. You were in the clubhouse. You were in the locker room as guys were lamenting an abrupt end of the season. That's how quickly this stuff goes down in this very cruel postseason that is Major League Baseball. How were they feeling yesterday, Daryl? We heard some of the audio that Owen put together. Didn't sound like they were thrilled.
Yeah, they were crushed, and you could feel it. Certainly they were expecting that they were going to move on and play this weekend in Seattle. Obviously, they're not now. I think, quite frankly, they just ran out of gas. You spent so much energy climbing the hill just to get back in things, and you win the division. But they ran out of gas. We could debate, did Vogt pull Ciccone too early and turn that into a bullpen game too early? I think so, but I also understand why he did it because, well, you're in an elimination game. There is no margin for error. That seventh inning was just an absolute gut punch. They sent 10 men to the plate, scored 4 times. It became a hit parade. There was no stopping the bleeding, and that was it. Once it got to 6-1 going to the bottom of the 7th, even with them, in the bottom of the 8th, they got a couple runs back. Hosey gets thrown out at second base, getting a little aggressive. And I think you saw that. Like, the I don't want to say desperation from Hosey, but, like, Jose's not dumb. He knows. Like, he tried to extend a couple of plays on the base paths, and it ended up being costly in the series. And I think part of that was a byproduct of understanding, hey, man, runs are few and far between with our offense right now. We are consistently inconsistent. It either rains or it's a drought when it comes to scoring runs. And I think you saw a little bit of that in the series there, Anthony, with Jose on the contact play, gets thrown out at home. And then yesterday, trying to get to second base on the throwing error, and that ultimately short circuits a rally there. So, but the mood in the clubhouse yesterday, or I should say last night, was exactly what you thought it'd be.
Well, it's not all that complicated. You end up between Ramirez and Kwan. I think they each had 2 hits in the series. That was it. Obviously, no home runs, and Manzardo had 1 hit in the series. That is the top of your order. That's we already knew this order was very challenged to begin with. You were going to rely on guys. I had a buddy text me yesterday who doesn't really follow baseball that closely until about this time of the year.
Were you expecting Chase DeLauder to be like the missing link in the series? I mean, it was great he got the hit yesterday, but just think about that for a second.
Well, that's what I'm saying. My buddy texted me. He goes, this is a lineup of a Major League Baseball team. And I said, this actually is the better lineup that fans wanted to see.
About 3 months ago.
Because he had never heard of Kafis. He had no idea who DeLauder was. These are guys, most people around sports don't follow the minors of other teams. And so we get to Valera,
we
Kafis,
definitely follow
DeLauder.
The minor leagues here because we need to.
Well, we have to. And the guys that were here weren't working out. And obviously, no Fry, the Lane Thomas thing, both end up just not being helpful. Nothing against Fry. I mean, he had moments last year in the postseason. And then obviously Nolan Jones. They trade for Nolan Jones, and he was a flat-out 0. And he's one guy who probably end up being back here next year. So look forward to that. But they went with this youth movement. The lineup they trotted out in Game 1 against Scooball probably wouldn't have mattered, honestly, who you put out there. You would have expected DeLauder, who I think is very exciting for next year, but would you expected him to go up against the best pitcher in baseball in his first opportunity ever? I mean, the guy was dropping a ball in the very first opportunity he had, so there are going to be some nerves. There are going to be some other elements of the postseason. Either way, we knew it was going to be tough to scrap together any kind of hits. They had as Sean McDonough pointed out numerous times throughout the 3-day stay in Cleveland, this is the lowest batting average in the history, right, of Major League Baseball in the postseason. It was going to be tough to get anything going. And then when your bullpen got absolutely gassed at the end of the year, it sucks. It really sucks. And it sucks to have the bullpen have that meltdown in that way. I mean, the bullpen they weren't as dominant as they were last year. I don't think you might never have a bullpen as dominant as last year.
Right.
But this year's bullpen down the final month of the year was a lot more reliable. But they were just flat out gassed in this 3-game series where it's unrelenting. There's no days off. You go back to back to back, and that is the pain of a wild card series and a pain of losing game 1 is that you knew to do it all, they were going to have to defy even more expectations.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to take anything away from what they accomplished in the month of September because that was such a historic comeback to win the division. But I had said all along, even if they did make the postseason, they were a threat to nobody. And they weren't a threat to anyone. And it's unfortunate that I was right in that aspect. But, okay, let me ask you this. Let's say they won that game yesterday. Are you going to feel any better had they won that game yesterday and got eliminated by Seattle?
Yeah, I would have.
I would have.
It's another week of baseball. It's more moments for these kids to see what they're made of. Like, there's reason to get excited about DeLauder going into next year. I mean, there is. I think fans saw almost instantly why there's reason. So I think you're denied, more of that, more of a postseason seasoning that unfortunately they're not going to have.
Yeah, I mean, Austin Hedges talked about that last night after the game. The fact that these young kids got exposed to postseason baseball. As he said, there are guys that have been playing this game a long time that have not had that. So the fact that they got these 3 games, they're already ahead of the game, so to speak, as young ball players. And hopefully this is an experience that these young guys like a CJ Kafis and Chase DeLauder and that they can carry with them forward going into next year. And hopefully, whatever they can extrapolate from this will benefit them and ultimately benefit the ball club so that they're better positioned to compete come October.
But what are you saying, Daryl? Are you saying for you, are you of the ilk that if they didn't get back to the ALCS, the season was a failure no matter what?
I was not disappointed.
Because I definitely have seen a lot of that because of the slashing of the payroll and a lot of fans. We're all frustrated that we all would have loved them to sign, Torres last year. Would have loved that. It would have been amazing. Would have filled an obvious hole. I never thought they were going to do that. I don't think they're going to sign Pete Alonso this offseason. They could have a payroll going into next season of like $70 million. They could slash it another 30 based on the salaries already coming off the books.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Mets spent 3 times what the Guardians did, and what did they do this week? Anyone know where they were this week?
Well, yeah, the Padres are out. They're eliminated. Obviously, the Rangers spent $200 million. They were eliminated before we even got into the postseason. I mean, there's the correlation of money. Money's important. Money does help. Maybe,
but it's how you spend it that matters.
Sure.
I go back to what Nick Saban said on College Game Day when they were talking about college football and spending money on guys. And I'm going to paraphrase because we had to keep it clean here, but he basically said, "It's great you spent the $20 million, but you better spend it on the right guys." Right? Because if you don't, you're up the creek without the paddle. So, and again, that's the clean version of what Nick Saban had to say. It's about how you spend the money. Would it be nice if the Guardians had an extra $25 to $50 million available to them to be able to spend? Absolutely. But the market is the market. They couldn't even sell out these wild card games. And I want to make clear, I'm not criticizing Guardians
Sounds
fans.
like you're coming after the fans.
I'm not.
Sound like they call me Anthony Dolan. If you come, we will spend it. That was the messaging for many years. Remember?
Yeah, I know, but the start times were terrible.
Yeah, they did him no favors for sure.
But the reality is, for wild card playoff games, you drew under 27,000 for the first 2 games.
I was noticeable on TV the first 2 games. I thought yesterday looked a lot.
And yesterday you were, I think it was 29.6 and change. Okay. But the reality is, they didn't even sell out the wild card games. And again, I'm not criticizing Guardians fans. People work. This just in. People have to work. The economy is not...
3 straight days, too.
Yeah, the economy's not exactly booming these days. Like, I get it. But the greed of sports, and we're seeing it with the NCAA wanting to expand March Madness. You're seeing it with the college football playoff. You're seeing it in Major League Baseball. Winning a World Series is going to get harder. It's not going to get easier going forward. And oh, by the way, that has nothing to do with payroll. It has to do with the setup. Because now you win your division. You're not in the division series in a series away from the ALCS or 2 series away from the World Series. You're 3 series away. You got to win a wild card series, then you got to win a division series, then you got to win the ALCS, then you got to. Now it's 4 rounds. It's like the NBA. Now it's 4. It's harder and harder and harder now to get to the World Series to compete for us. It's not getting any easier, and it's not going to get easier from an economic standpoint. The Guardians still don't have a TV deal. Major League Baseball had to handle their TV this year, so. I understand fans' frustrations with ownership and not spending, and it'd be easy for you and I to do 4 hours of, find the checkbook, Dolans. But that's just not the reality. I mean, people had to make economic decisions this week alone about whether or not they could go to these playoff games. And again, I'm not criticizing fans. I get it. If I wasn't there working, guess what? I would not have been there. I couldn't afford the tickets. I would have gone.
I always wondered, though, the people that were able to go all 3 days, congratulations on your success. Not because I'm guessing you're not second or third. It was certainly not second. I'm guessing you're not a third shifter that is just, coming home from work and then going to the ball game. So who are the people that get to just go to 3 games this week?
And baseball does no favors to the Guardians or their small markets. They don't market their small market players. Do you see Jose? I mean, again, I use the NBA analogy. You see Donovan Mitchell on the NBA TV commercials. Do you see Jose Ramirez anywhere? He's one of the greatest players in the game, and baseball does nothing to market it. And I have some thoughts on why Major League Baseball isn't as popular as the NFL. I observed some things this week that hit reality as far as how I do my job and how I'm allowed to do my job. Maybe Major League Baseball needs to get to 2025 and stop, operating like you're in 1985.
All right, Dale Ryder is in for Ken Carman. When we come back, we'll open up the phone lines. I want to hear from fans. 216-474-0092. How will you remember this season? 15 and a half games. They made history coming back from the depths of hell, but like so many teams right now, they are eliminated and they have to watch the rest of the postseason. We also have Kevin Stefanski in London in the 8 o'clock hour. He will go live. He'll give us the update. Who the heck is playing on the offensive line for the youngster Dylan Gabriel? All that straight ahead here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
E3 Performance in Avon. We're your new game day headquarters with a full bar and daily specials. Cameo at the Field House. Let's go!
Talk sports deep into the Cleveland night. Overtime with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I couldn't be more proud of them, of what we accomplished, but it's not enough. We want more. And I think that's really the message is let this sting. We're close. We are really close. We're not quite there yet.
That was Stephen Vogt, the manager. Many here in Northeast Ohio were clamoring to get some Manager of the Year cred to try to go back-to-back based on what they were able to do the final month of the season.
I'm on that bandwagon. I was saying that he should get some serious consideration for back-to-back.
Now, as always, we have to remind people that is a regular season award. Daryl, how do you think he did in this 3-game wild card back-to-back-to-back performance in which they had the Tigers? They were right there. It's the final game to have a chance to advance to the ALDS, and did he make the wrong maneuver going to the bullpen as early as he did in this game?
Well, hindsight being 20/20, I say yes. I would have tried to get Ciccone at least through that third inning if you could, but the leash being short is certainly understandable because you're in this elimination game. The issue was the 7th inning. They just couldn't stop the bleeding in the 7th inning. It turned into a hit parade. And that's where the ball game was decided. Now, what move was Vogt supposed to do there? Like, what was he supposed to do there to slow that hit parade down? I thought that I actually liked the lineup yesterday. I hated the Game 1 lineup. The Game 2 lineup was a little better, and obviously it was better because they won the game, but it was better. I actually liked yesterday's lineup, and probably get used to that. You're going to see some of that, I think, next season. But I thought he did all right. I certainly am not going to sit here this morning and blame Stephen Vogt for them being eliminated. He can't go up there and hit. He can't go up there and catch the baseball. He can't throw the baseball.
Well, not only that, if I would have told you that, Quan and Jose would combine, we knew Jose would get very few opportunities in general. They were not going to let him beat them, but no home runs out of Jose and just 4 hits between them in the 3 games. And then I add, by the way, Manzardo. They need some pop out of Manzardo. He had 1 hit, the entire 3 games. If I would have told you that before the series, I think you would have said, oh my God,
they're done in 2 games.
Yeah, they're not even going to make it to a 3rd game.
Yeah.
So you need those guys to step up first. And unfortunately, you just it's a small sample size. You only get 3 games, but that's it.
Well, it's interesting you bring up Stephen Kwan because he was asked 2 important questions after the game. One, do you want to be here next year? And he said yes, he does. The other thing he was asked about was, aside from his own, he did mention he needs to be more consistent as a hitter. He wasn't happy with the season that he had this year, but he was asked about the offense and what he would like to see added, or if he feels that they really need to focus this offseason on adding some offense. And he said, well, that's a management question. Let me put that through the Stephen Kwan translator. That's hell yes, please. Yes. Can we get anybody not named myself or Jose Ramirez or sometimes Manzardo or sometimes any other 7 guys in the lineup to be able to hit a baseball with some semblance of consistency? That's where this season ultimately fell short, Anthony. It's easy to point to the bullpen not being as strong as it was a year ago. It's easy maybe to point a little bit to the start, which, by the way, the rotation I thought was fine down the stretch, and even going to the 6-man was brilliant, worked out great. It's offense. They need guys that can hit the baseball. You can have all the Gold Glovers you want, but if you can't score runs, you can't win ball games. So that needs to be the focus this offseason. I don't know where they're going to find the money to do it. I don't know where they're going to find it in the within the organization. But they've got to find some consistent offense this offseason if they're going to have any chance of not only winning the division again, but doing anything in the month of October. Otherwise, we're going to be having the same conversation we're having right now. A year from now.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about it yesterday. When's the last offseason you've been excited about for the Guardians? Do you have to go back to the Encarnacion year? Do you have to go back to, heading into 2017? Was that it?
Yeah, coming off the World Series.
Coming off the World Series, and then obviously they made a big swing with Encarnacion, and we all thought that they were going to go right back to the World Series.
That's really the last time they've had a press conference to introduce a player.
Yeah, I mean, but like the other frustrating thing too is, and Owen's right. I can't remember the last time I had to go to Progressive Field in the off season to introduce a new member of the ball club. Okay, and this is the other rub. You can't win or lose if you're the Guardians. When they do tend to take that leap with a guy, when does it pan out for them? I maybe Kerry Wood. Maybe back in...
Well, it certainly wasn't born in Swisher.
It wasn't born in Swisher. Maybe 2001, Gonzalez. When they signed him in the offseason, that 1 year, $10 million deal, that worked out. Juan Gonzalez, it worked for 1 year. But like when they spend money in free agency and they have that big when does it ever pay off for them? I get it. I get both sides of that. I get the economic side that the Guardians deal with, and I get the fan side and the frustration of, and this is where baseball doesn't know how to promote their product, okay? We already have the schedule for next season. Why do we have the schedule for next season already?
Well, you wanted a schedule release party like we do in the NFL?
Yeah, why not do that?
You wanted a scheduled game?
Why not do that the first weekend of December or something? So you get fans hyped to buy their tickets during the holidays.
I'll pull up the schedule if you want to do the schedule game.
No, I want to do the schedule.
I didn't know. You never told me. We would have done this, a month ago.
But they don't know how to market their product either. Playoff games at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you give people 24 hours notice. We're sitting around all day yesterday waiting to find out when Game 3, a decisive Game 3, is going to be played. How can people plan? How can fans plan for that?
All right, I want to get reaction from people. 216-474-0092. I asked the question going into the break. How do you think you're going to end up feeling about the 2025 Cleveland Guardians? Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Greg in North Canton to lead us off. How are you, Greg? Welcome to the show.
If you watched in September, you're upset. If you watched all year, you're not upset. Keep in mind, this team was this rotation was average. This defense was always bad. And up until September, Tanner Bybee had an ERA of 5 and led the league in home runs allowed. They could do nothing. It took Bo Naylor hitting 295 just to get to 195 all year. And so this rotation did something that we will never, ever see again. 18 or 19 straight games with one unearned run. And how many teams have won 20 games in a month? Nobody does. If you win 20 games a month, that means you're going to win 120 a year.
Well, in that month, too. I get the end of the year gets a little crazy in all the sports because you've got teams with different competing interests. So are you saying, Greg, that the last month, we were so spoiled with that last month that was basically a mirage?
Right, and that's going to be the key for the front office is you're going to have to look at the whole body of picture of what you have going forward. And now, obviously, you're probably not going to spend money because of the lockout that's coming in 26. But you're going to have to find a right-handed bat. And the problem with right-handed bats outside the stars, there's not much out there.
All right, Greg, so I appreciate the phone call. Let's go to Connor on the road. You're next up on the Fan.
Hey, guys, I just got to say it's tough to buy those tickets and go to that game and watch them lose because Vogt did all he could with the lineup he had. And in that last game, you needed pitching. And where was that pitching? Oh, we traded him away to Toronto because the front office was already giving up on the team. That's the hardest part, really.
Wait, you're saying that had they have had Shane Bieber, that things would have played out all that differently in the series?
It would have been nice to have another arm just so we could get through 3 games. You can trust Gavin Williams. You can trust Tanner Bybee. But when it came down to it, you got rid of a great hitter in Naylor. and brought in Slade. And Slade was good for a bit, but he wasn't that kind of level that Shane Bieber would have been. And to be honest, the front office gave up on the team by the time that trade deadline came around. So they were just kind of waiting for the offseason, seeing what we could do in the offseason, and Vogt willed this team back to life. So Vogt did all he could, but I just feel like when it came down to it, we were given up with the front office.
So how are you going to remember this season quickly, Connor?
I'm going to remember it as fun in September, but once again, ownership fails the team. We can want to win all we want, but ownership fails.
All right, I appreciate the phone call. I did promise everybody it wasn't the time to talk about ownership in the month of September. It certainly wasn't going into the wild card round, I didn't think. But the phone lines are open for you, because what I heard in the afternoon, I think is going to irk some people. I'll just say, bravo, Nick Wilson. We'll play some of that when we come back. Plus, we've got Dale Ryder in studio as we get ready for the Browns to kick off very early Sunday morning in London. We'll have Kevin Stefanski in the 8 o'clock hour live to give us the update. Who is going to be playing left and right tackle for your Cleveland Browns to protect the rookie?
Me.
It won't?
It will not be
They
me.
didn't try you out this week?
And it won't be you either.
Thank God. Thank God. I don't think I have enough beef, Daryl. I haven't packed on the dad pounds yet, but that could be coming. You'll hear from Kevin Stefanski. And I'm curious, what are your realistic expectations for that rookie third-round quarterback? That's all straight ahead here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Anthony.
471. Traffic's light eastbound on 480 from 176 to Route 8. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
Sign up to be a part of the Fan Club. Download the free Odyssey app and follow 92.3 The Fan to get all of the best audio and best stories sent straight to your inbox. 923thefan.com.
Sounds like a management idea. I know what I need to work on. Wasn't happy with my year, but I'm going to work hard and we'll go from there.
All right, that is Stephen Kwan following yesterday's season-ending defeat. God, there's nothing, we say there's nothing better than playoff baseball, but then there's nothing worse than that yesterday.
Then being eliminated from playoff baseball?
It sucks so bad. And obviously, we're not alone. You could say goodbye. You can say goodbye to the Boston Celtics, the Boston Red Sox. Their season has come to an end. You could say goodbye to, Cincinnati, very short-lived existence after they backed their way into the postseason.
By the way, if you thought it was bad for the Guardians in the playoffs, what Terry Francona was able to accomplish in Cincinnati with the Reds was pretty impressive. No qualifying batter hit 270. This is from OptaStats.
It's going to sound like us?
Yes. The Reds are the first team in Major League Baseball history to have no qualifying batter hit 270, no batter hit 25 homers, no pitcher win 15 games, no pitcher record 200 strikeouts in a non-shortened season, and yet they still made the playoffs.
Yeah, the Padres and their $200+ million payroll, their season came to an end. So
money well spent.
Look, the postseason is brutal. Daryl said earlier that it's never been harder to win a World Series based on just the gauntlet. If you don't have that bye, and you have to play in this preseason matchup, and the fact that it's back to back to back, if it even goes 3 games,
what if
just
the
makes it
Guardians
especially
spent
brutal.
Twice what they spent on the team this year? Let's just, for sake of discussion, right? Since this came up. What if the Guardians, I think the payroll was, the cash payroll is around $100 million this year. Let's say the Guardians had spent $200 million on their payroll this year, okay? And this was the result. This is how the season played out. This is how the season ended. What would the temperature be of fans angry?
Well, then it moves to organization and manager. Right? The blame game just completely shifts to that.
So it goes to fire Vogt, fire Chernoff.
That's what honestly, right? Maybe not the first year that they did something like that, but if Blitzer came in, bought the team, made the huge splash and whatever, and you're just eliminated either before the end of the regular season or right now in the wild card round.
Well, that's what happened to the Dolans, right? They came in, they spent a bunch of money early, they signed Juan Gonzalez, they won the division, then got bounced in the division series right away, just like that. Then they realized, oh boy, I guess we can't spend that kind of money and be able to sustain this. And then that's when they started paring back, and then we got the Dolan discount narrative that has never gone away since then.
No, it hasn't. It's quite frankly, people get mad at me for not, going after the Dolans each and every show that we do ever. And I'm like, man, that was so, 15 years ago.
They run a pretty successful ball club.
The conversation to me just gets pretty stale because, unfortunately, if you pay attention to the business of baseball and you understand the flaws of baseball with not only we talk about salary cap so much, but in all reality, we need a floor too. You need both those things operating simultaneously. And
that to me is where the criticism has to come in, because we have had collective bargaining agreements over the last 15, 20 years. That's where my criticism would come in. If you really, truly, as an owner, right, feel like your backs are against the wall, then you need to fight for it. This new the CBA is coming up here in a year or so. You as a small market owner now, you guys need to get together and fight for a cap, fight for a floor, fight for a restructuring, because the current economic model makes it almost impossible to compete. The Guardians don't, I feel like the Dolans and the Guardians do not get the credit they deserve for the consistent competitiveness. We all get wrapped up in, they didn't win the World Series again this year, so this season was a failure, was a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. And we lose sight of the fact that they're the first team in Major League history to come back from 15 and a half back to steal a division from somebody. since Terry Francona got here, when Tito came here, right? My criticism of that organization always was the woe is me, we're small market, we can't compete because we can't spend like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Mets, etc. Okay? And my argument had always been, and I had a lot of respect for Mark Shapiro, but he had that. I remember sitting in that office after I think it was the Cliff Lee trade, and he said, hey, we just have to hope we're like the Marlins. Once every 5 years, we get a good ball club together, get in the thing, and hopefully things go our way, we make a run and win the whole shebang. But that's where we're at. And that angered me because I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're small market, but your job's to find a way. You're not the Pittsburgh Pirates, okay? You can't be the Pittsburgh Pirates. What they do in Pittsburgh with that ball club and that fan support's a joke, okay? I don't think the Dolans get enough credit here in Cleveland for the consistent winner they put together. Tito came in here, and he flipped that attitude on its head. And every year that Francona was here, since he got here and ever since,
I think also, but I think fans, it's almost
they're about trying to find a way now.
You're a victim of their own success because just getting to the wild card doesn't seem to matter very much to a lot of fans. Not everybody. There were a lot of people that thought that run, and me included, thought the September run was amazing. What sucks is they were even in position to have a September run. The thought is if the Dolans spent another $50 to $60 million just to get them to league average, which I think it was $170 this year. That you're not buried before you even get off a run. I want to play something. This was the afternoon show yesterday because the very first call out of the gate, and I told everybody, hey, once the season ends, fine. Complain about ownership. Complain. This is the time to do it. And a caller did just that, and here's the response from Nick Wilson.
The first four things on the damn post about the Guardians, who were in the playoffs, and a month ago they weren't even sniffing the playoffs. Oh, why start at the Dolans? Oh, hey, bleep the Dolans, right? The bigger picture is this team has ownership that will never allow them to ever win a World Series. Guys, I'm not doing this crap. I'm not telling you to not have criticisms of the Dolan. What I'm saying is there's a time and a place when we can bitch about ownership, and there's a time and a damn place where we can credit a team for what they did. And that team is that front office that half of you wanted to fire damn 6 months ago. This is the same damn manager that got you into the ALCS last year, and it's a team full of guys who it doesn't matter if they should have been there, they were there. If you want to bitch about the Dolans, do it somewhere else. If your reaction today isn't well done, boys, I didn't think you had it into it. You surprised me. If it's not well done, Stephen Vogt, if it's not well done, Cernetti, I don't know why we do sports anymore.
That was Nick Wilson. I heard that live as I was trying to get some things done around the house. And I was like, thank God I didn't have to come on right after the game because I knew what that reaction was going to be. But he says, don't do it here. I'm allowing it. Do it here. Call us up. 216-474-0092. You heard Daryl. Daryl says the Dolans don't get enough credit. That was not what I was seeing
Since 2016,
yesterday.
They've missed the playoffs 3 times. Since 2016, the Guardians have missed the Guardians/Indians have missed the playoffs just 3 times. That's incredible. In this market, with what they have to compete against and compete with, that's a hell of a run.
But Daryl, I've agreed everything that you have said over the last 53 minutes of the show. I've said a lot of those same things for the last month as they were making this run. But now that it's over, I kind of feel like now I go right back into the mode of a lot of Cleveland fans where, all right, yeah, it was great. It was great to make the run, but now we're sitting at home watching baseball, and I'm trying to determine if I'm even going to watch the rest of the postseason. Like, that's how cruel this is in baseball, and it sucks. You feel like you just are not on the same playing field as some of these teams. You feel like you've got not a lot of shot for a World Series, which is what this is all supposed to be about. The good vibes were awesome over the last month. We were doing pep rallies on the show. And now we're sitting at home talking about Dylan Gabriel, the Browns, if Shedeur Sanders is going to have a shot, if Deshaun Watson is even in the mix. And now get ready for Cavs season. I think they do have a preseason game coming up in the next week. Where are you, Guardians fans? We haven't heard from Owen yet. He went to 33-odd games this year. Haven't heard from Owen. I'm curious how he feels about an abrupt ending to the season.
To get in today.
216-474-0092. That, and don't forget, 8 o'clock hour, the Browns go to the podium, and we'll carry some of that for you live, including Kevin Stefanski and Dylan Gabriel will speak to the international press. That's all coming up here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
42 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Niners now 4-1. Get all the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone during the regular season by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
As always, Daryl's appearance is brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Hour number 2. Hour number 1 did sound a little bit like a Dolan apologist tour. We played some of Nick Wilson's audio following yesterday's loss. Daryl, you talked about the successes of the Dolan era, but man, the responses on social media, they are following a different team. They are definitely not happy about yet another season in which there was no contention, no World Series contention. Have to start talking about 1948.
And you know what? Enjoy the Browns, who spend a ton of money and win nothing.
What do the Browns have to do with this, Daryl?
Well, they spent $300 million on a team that can't win. But hey, you know what? The owner spends money, so there you go. Great ownership there. They spend money and they don't win, but there you go.
We're going to get to the phones here.
I would rather
in just
win
a second.
and not spend money than spend money to lose. The Guardians have made the playoffs 7 times in 10 years.
The refrain I've heard the most when it comes to this is at least the Haslams will spend the money and try to win. Now, I have pushed back at that big time because I saw a bunch of people saying yesterday, hey, if Jimmy Haslam owned the Guardians, they would be contending every year for the World Series.
No,
and I said, well, you'd have how many different management teams? I mean, there's no way you would not still have the same infrastructure. There'd be a very different... People think you'd get the best of both worlds. You'd get the money and you'd get the organization. But that oftentimes is not really how it works.
What you want is to have the money, but have the owner be the silent partner and stay out of the way.
Yeah.
You just want the owner to cut the checks.
Yes.
That's not how the Haslams do business.
Well, I think that's not how a lot of owners do business in sports.
Because if they're spending that kind of money, they're going to want some say-so on some things.
Well, and the feedback is quicker, right? Like there's more of a reactionary way that a lot of those types of ownership groups operate. So, they would demand instant success. And if they didn't get that, like if they went and spent another $100 million and had the $200 million payroll and then missed the playoffs like the Rangers did, what would they do? Everybody gets bounced.
Yep.
I mean, isn't that a reality? People know that, right? So it's just like pick your poison.
When you spend, the patience is less and less and less versus when you don't spend, you're going to be a little more patient with things.
I want to get to the phones here in a second. Owen, I noticed you've been very silent in there. You went
it's tough to get in.
You went to 33 games. What do you mean tough to get in?
Tough to get in today.
I don't think it's been tough at all.
Oh, okay.
I think there's been ample opportunity.
We can do that off air if you like.
No, I'll do it on air. You've been
you guys have been talking the whole time. I'm the guy that's been on the team all year.
I haven't heard you say anything on the air or off the air.
Thank you.
So, if the floor is yours, if you have something to contribute, go ahead and contribute.
Go ahead. No, I got nothing for you, Anthony. I got nothing.
All right, that's 33 game Owen here in studio, I guess.
Tim in
Columbus,
no,
go
you
ahead.
can go ahead and no, Tim, you're on hold.
Okay, go ahead.
Honestly, you want to put it on me that I didn't talk in the first hour? The guy that's been on the team since July, and you guys have just been doing your rants on ownership or how great we did, guys that didn't believe in the team all summer.
Well, I certainly didn't think they gave you a lot of reason to believe up until the last month of the year.
Well, because you didn't pay attention to the team. You didn't pay attention to the schedule. That's fine. I tried to tell you since July that there were things to watch in the team. It sucks that we had to bring a guy that's never played Major League Baseball before to come in and be our hero in October. That sucks. I get that.
Not typically a formula for World Series success.
But everybody wants to compare. Another thing, we want to compare the Guardians and the Browns to each other. They're completely opposite sports. I don't know if you know how baseball and football works, but it's also not just the game that's being played. It's the way that the season's set up. It's the way that the season develops. It's the way that you create a lineup. It's the way that you depend on different players. You've got, instead of one kicker in football, pitchers are kickers, right? They're individual guys that you need to step up in moments and you need to do it constantly. They have to do it constantly in a game. All right? Like, it's just so much different. It's 162 games. I put out my little post saying, season's over. This sucks, right? And tons of people wanted to do it's never going to change because they don't spend the money. Guys, welcome to Cleveland baseball. It's not like they just stopped spending money. Daryl's brought it up. They haven't spent money since, 2001?
2001.
That's the last time they really spent money.
Well, 2017, they spent a little money. Yeah.
Okay, if you can't appreciate the way that they go about their business and enjoy it, then don't be a fan. Don't be in my timeline, because my timeline is about having fun with the 162 games that we get.
So I find that very interesting, Owen, because I listen to you throughout the year. You're going to hand over your money either way. Like right. You have a great time. You and your family. I am the Browns fan of Guardians, right? I'm the optimistic guy. No matter what happens, I'll be the guy that tells you they're going to win 88 to 95 games next year. It's going to happen. They're going to cut people, right? They've already shown you. Guess who the big time guys coming in next season to relieve this lineup are? You saw them in the playoffs. It's George Valera, it's CJ Kafis, it's Chase DeLauder, and Travis Pizzana, right? That's it. That's who we're getting. They're not getting anyone else. They're not going out and getting people. That's the way they've operated.
And they may subtract
somebody. They definitely aren't doing it because a lockout is looming. But even if the lockout wasn't looming, they aren't going to change how they do business. The only way that changes it is a change in ownership. I get that. I'm not going to let not having a change in ownership affect how much fun I have during the summer with the team.
Does it ever come with expectations with you, though? I guess that's the next question. Because
no, I just like being there.
Well, that's what I mean. Cleveland, listen, all the sports, no matter where you are, no matter what city you're in, you need fans like Owen. And I hope they never take you for granted. I hope. And
I hope so too. But I will never let my personal happiness in life be dictated by professional athletes. I love sports. It's obvious why I'm here. I had a different career before I did sports radio. Totally different thing. It was a great career. It paid me very well. I did not like it. I love sports. That's why I'm sitting in the studio right now and made a lot of life changes with that because of it. I will never let what happens on a football field or a baseball field or a basketball court dictate my personal happiness in the long term. It might get me down for a day, but it's not going to dictate whether I like a person or not, whether I am happy with what's going on in my own personal life or not. There's a lot of people that can't say that. There's a lot of people that, because their life is not the greatest life, are going to find ways to blame other people that they have no effect on. Just go enjoy it. It's entertainment, guys. It's always entertainment at the end of the day. If you can't be entertained by it, don't be a fan of the team. Go spend your money on Superman movies or whatever you want to do.
Taylor Swift, her new album's out this morning.
It dropped, and that's all you've talked about in the break. So
I tried to play some of it for Daryl. We didn't get far enough into it.
You guys were not grooving.
216.
I can confirm I was not.
216-474-0092. She's a lyricist. It's all about her lyrics. Okay. We were waiting to see what she said about Travis Kelce. Cleveland's own. I think, Owen, that is a real moment because when a game ends, what I saw on social media yesterday, what I heard on the afternoon show, and I went a couple of different places, some podcasts as well. When a season ends, it's normally outrage. It's missed opportunities. It's either coaches or managers. There
was no opportunity here. This team, if you, like Owen said, if you watched them all year, you knew what they were. So I don't feel like there was a missed opportunity here. If anything, this was a gained opportunity. They exceeded expectation. I don't feel like this was a blown chance. 2017, okay, coming off the World Series, win 102 games, that was a missed opportunity. This year, not a missed opportunity.
But not a missed opportunity following the ALCS appearance last year. Normally you want to build on something like that. You're not thinking about that today.
Well, considering they really made no moves last offseason, no, it's not a missed opportunity because they just didn't do anything. If you want to talk about the missed opportunity, it was last offseason. But then again, well, what move could they have made last offseason that would have taken them over the top with a fairly young ball club?
Well, bringing in a proven bat. mean, that's what we're going to talk about every year. That's what we're going to talk about this offseason. I want to get to the phones here because you heard it. You had a real moment there from Owen. Owen is somebody of everybody at this station. He goes to more baseball games than anybody, with the exception of maybe anybody who's paid to actually report on it.
I did it with zero credentials.
Yeah, you're going to the games. You're spending your hard-earned money, and you're basically saying you want a World Series, but that's not what all this is about.
This is what I do for fun. This is how I spend my fun money.
Well, your memories. You're creating your memories. And
I take my sons with me. We have a great time. I take my wife with me. We have a great time. I drink a lot of beatboxes, make a lot of videos. It's a fun time. That's all I'll ever look at it as. I will not let not winning a World Series ruin my life.
All right, let me ask you this. Let's go to the phones. Tim in Columbus, thanks for being patient. I imagine you have very different thoughts based on what I see on the call stream, but go ahead, Tim.
No, I think what Owen said is 100% correct. I think Daryl doesn't maybe have a great listening skill in his portfolio. What a lot of the fans are saying, Daryl, is the front office that the Dolans have built is fantastic. Obviously, bringing in Vogt, Francona, awesome hires. What the fans are saying is it's great to do all those things. And if you look at the Guardians' record / Indians, since the Dolans have owned it, it's fantastic. You can almost compare them to the Steelers and how consistently that they win. But when it comes down to it, to going and getting us over the top and bringing in a bat, bringing in somebody other than Louis Ortiz, getting rid of Bieber, those are all things that fall onto ownership. It's not the front. The front office is awesome, man. We have a great manager, but we just want the payroll to be average. If we can get it to average with the talent that we have in the front office, we can get past the wild card. We can get past the ALDS or ALCS. That's what we're looking for. So I'm not sure you understand that nuance to it.
All right, thank you, Tim, calling out your listening skills, Daryl. I saw you intently listening.
Okay. I've only been doing this 30 years. What do I know?
You didn't like that very much, did you?
Yeah. Okay.
Wes in Silver Lake. Go ahead, Wes. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys.
Hey.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
What's up?
Hey, just really quick. I was listening on the drive home yesterday to the guys talk about the Guardians' loss. Couldn't agree with Owen more. I don't tie my happiness to this, but I love to watch them win. And the thing about the Guardians is they put out a good product. The stadium's in fantastic shape. They don't draft players or bring players in that embarrass the city and set the franchise back 10 years. And so just enjoy it, because now we're in sports purgatory, waiting for the Browns to figure out whatever the hell they're going to do. And then the Cavs season in like April when they make the playoffs. So huge Guardians fan. I'd love to see them win a World Series one day, but we just have to ride it out until they get there. And, if the Dolans aren't the Dolans discounts, they're not going to spend that kind of money. But like they said, they've been in the playoffs, 7 out of the last 10 years and had a historic run. So that's all I got.
All right, Wes, thank you very much. This went a completely different way than I thought this was going to go this morning.
I said, and you let me in, maybe we'll do something different.
Oh, that was great. I'm telling you, that was an honest moment. I didn't understand the personal shot at Daryl from the caller. I thought that was
I like more of them. And if you'd like to call in and take personal shots at Daryl, 216-578-0092.
No, the old number. He even gave out the old number. 474-0092. All right,
we'll time travel to take shots at Daryl.
We can do that as well, or in the future, because I guarantee Daryl will be here, and you can take those shots in the future. Normally, this is great. Normally, they're aimed at me, the slings and arrows. When we come back, I want to know, we talk about expectations for the Guardians. What are reasonable expectations for a rookie quarterback behind a struggling offensive line with a very, very bad wide receiver room? Yet I'm hearing some optimism this week for Kevin Stefanski, his offense, and Dylan Gabriel. Where is that coming from? We'll do that next here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Anthony Lima for...
disappointing in London. Miles Garrett, Jack Conklin, Greg Newsom II are out there with the team. Garrett's been dealing with an ankle injury, Conklin an elbow injury, and Newsom a sore hamstring. After practice, likely next hour, we're going to hear from head coach Kevin Stefanski live here on 92.3 The Fan. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All right, after what I have to believe is one of the more bizarre segments I've had in a long time, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and the reaction. Owen, you've got company. There were a lot of fans in Owen's corner after that last segment where Owen, who's been to roughly, I think it was an unofficial tally, 33 games?
No, I have it, yeah.
Oh, it's official?
Yeah.
Well, Ken Carman has his tally of games watched.
Well, that's in the thousands, right?
Well, and then,
And he's never around to defend himself when you need him.
No, that's the problem. We take these shots at Ken, and he's not here. But if you missed the last segment, it's available on the rewind function. And it got into a bigger, almost an existential question about sports, on what you expect from your teams, what you demand from your teams. But what is sports ultimately all about?
Well, and just to, and that's what I brought up the differences in baseball and football. You get 10 times, and 2 of those are preseason games, or 1 preseason game, depending. This year it's 8 actual regular season games over at Huntington Bank Field. I understand living and dying when you get 8 regular season games with your team. When you get 81, I'm a little less live and die with it.
I thought it was very interesting perspective. But you know who might have some also interesting perspective? On a cell phone from the Magic Kingdom, it is Ken Carman joining us on the show. Kenny, I don't know if you caught last segment, but I thought Owen was going to strangle me at one point. Then I thought a caller was all-time insulting towards Daryl, and I just sat back and enjoyed all of it. Ken, I want to enjoy this. What's up, man?
I heard not a single second of it.
Good.
So if you guys were fighting, I'm sorry to interrupt and go right back ahead.
Good. No, you're good, Kenny. Kenny, we're in a big debate. Obviously, I told people for a month, now's not the time. Now's not the time to talk about the Dolans. Now's not the time to talk about payroll. But I did say when the season's over, good. It's the off season. Talk here, you know what? So, Ken, where were you on what this season was all about? Now that it came crashing down in 3 days, as cruel as the postseason typically does.
Well, I found it hard not to feel good about the players, right? I found it hard not to feel good about. I mean, listen, the pitching situation. I got a little bit of Dairy Brothers yesterday, or overnight, I should say, because I woke up with terrible cramps. But it'll get you down here this humidity.
You got to have your potassium up.
I didn't eat enough well, I eat plenty of donuts. I didn't eat enough bananas. And that's part of the problem.
One a day, Kenny.
Lay off me, I'm starving.
But the real issue of it is, the crux of the situation is, Tone, is it's always going to be an old question that, it has to be answered, but it has to be answered in the off season. So I think you're right. I think it's time now to talk about it. But if we would have done it during the year, every day, we wouldn't have been able to get anything done. I think
Kenny.
There's separation there between the ownership and the players and the team itself. So I feel good about where I feel good about kind of maybe I'm being tricked and maybe I need to reevaluate here. But as of right now, my feelings are I feel good about where they're at. I feel a little bit better about the future just because of some of the pups. But do I feel that they're any closer to a World Series? No. But with the way the season ended, I can't say it was a total disappointment. So I kind of see where Owen's coming from there. But I also think that there's plenty of fans out there that feel that if you don't hold the feet to the fire of the ownership, or we don't every single day, then it's some excuse to not spend money. Whereas I look at it quite frankly and I say, I don't think Paul Dolan cares particularly what you or I or Nick or Jonathan or anybody in the midday show or anybody at night have to say about his baseball team. I don't think he cares, and I don't think he's going to do anything different depending on if I'm screaming it from the mountaintops or I'm trying to shake his hand. He's going to do as he does. And he will look at it and go, the track record shows that I've been pretty successful. And I'd say, well, yeah, compared to a lot of teams in baseball, I guess you have. So it becomes a real difficult thing having this conversation. And I agree with you. I'd rather have it now than have it back in May and June and things like that. Even though, when you lose 10 in a row, how hard is it not to have that conversation? So it was a weird season. I was glad that they were able to come back. The postseason baseball was fun. I'll probably feel a little bit different as winter comes and they do nothing. In fact, they probably take a little bit more from the team. I'll probably feel different about it, but it's hard not to be at least somewhat proud of what the players and the coaching staff have done.
Ken, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, they made the playoffs 7 times in 10 years. Why would they do anything different? Why would they mess with their formula?
Well, and Ken, I said in the last segment, we've already seen what they're going to add to the team next year, and it's George Valera and Chase DeLauder, and those are the guys, right? CJ Kafis, we're not getting anything extra. I don't know. Is there anything that's ever shown you, outside of Edwin Encarnacion, that they're going to add to this team at all? And does it matter?
I will say that they'll say it doesn't. I think to some fans who listen, I think there's fans who listen to us, God bless them, because they want to be entertained. I think they're football fans first. Which, hey, I'm a football guy, so as much as, you want to blame me for it, fine. Not you, but, the proverbial. But I think that they'll use that as more of a reason to not pay attention to baseball. And if we compare it to the NFL, there's no comparison. You can't compare anything to the NFL. They try to be something for everybody. But when it comes to the NBA, I think you can compete in that space. And I think that you don't do enough as a baseball team or really as a league to compete in that space the way that the NBA competes. So I think they have an opportunity. They've made the game better, but they're blowing that opportunity as Major League Baseball is concerned. And we could say, somebody tweeted at me that there was a back and forth that you and I think Owen, you and me and Lima might have got connected to yesterday, and somebody said, well, Dolan's a hostage in the system of baseball. I go, no, he's a full participant.
He can go ahead and sell the team if he wants. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's got $1 billion waiting for him.
I don't want to hear nothing about it. Yeah, he ain't no hostage, so he's a participant in it. So, I don't think that they're going to add anything to it. In fact, I think we might have seen the last of Stephen Kwan in a jersey.
Yep.
So the time for anger is still to come, because I'm sure you guys talked about that. I think he probably played his last baseball game for us yesterday. Hate to say it. Would love to get him signed, but. You're calling up these pups from the minors in big time crunch time. I think it's trying to get them to play and know some pressured baseball, real pressured baseball. So they'll be maybe that much better getting ready for next year. Because we just got my situation with Chase DeLauder. We just got to find a way to keep him healthy. That's all. I know that there was the silliness that happened the other day, but we just got to find a way to keep that kid healthy. And if he could stay healthy, I think he'd be a pretty good ball player for you. But I think people are excited a little bit by Valera. I think people will be excited just to see the name Travis Bazzana, whether or not he materializes. I think it's way too early to write him off the way that Mike Exisa and a couple of guys have. But I think that there's going to be young guys that we try to get excited about, and hopefully they'll come to fruition.
All right, Kenny, as we put a bow on the Guardian season, there was a change this week while you were away. Kevin Stefanski made the move to Dylan Gabriel. It was something, you had been talking about maybe would have happened had they not have beaten Green Bay. But here we are. It was a kind of weird, shortened travel week because they were playing in London. Was this the time to do it? And do you have reason for optimism? Because I am seeing that in some circles when it comes to the third-round quarterback.
I have reasons for optimism just because he's a young guy. And there's always the thrill of the unknown. There's the excitement of the unknown. Now, that might be gone by the second quarter, but that's where my optimism is kept. If he were a first-round guy, maybe I'd feel differently about it, but I'm going to temper my optimism there. I know that he processes well. Everything that everybody says tells me that he'll have the makings of a good coach someday. But I don't know if he'll be a great quarterback. From what Darryl was saying and everybody was reporting during the preseason, I don't like the term gamer because I'm going, well, you're taking him because he's smart. Gamers tend to not care about the plan. Gamers tend not to care that much about practice. So there's something missing there. So he's going to see some different defenses for sure. He'll see a different defense with the Minnesota Vikings, who already have time over there and are already adjusted to it, and he's not. But I figured, I mean, I said this before I left. I figured if they went out there and they looked bad on offense, that, yeah, they'd make the switch from Joe Flacco to Dylan Gabriel. And they looked bad on offense, and they made the switch from Joe Flacco to Dylan Gabriel. I wasn't surprised by this at all. I was a little bit surprised. Did you guys pick this up on the phones at all? I didn't get a chance to listen to much. I got a chance to listen to a little bit. Did you guys get any of this on the phones at all? It probably was a lot of Guardians. But were there people who, like, they wanted the switch and then they were mad because the switch came before the London trip?
No.
Was that it?
No, I didn't get a ton of that.
Not really, no.
Okay. Because it seemed to be that there were some folks, I had people texting me, and, I don't like to text during games, but I'm going, you guys wanted this. Why are you upset? Well, it was in London. Well, there's no good time to put in a new guy in there. You wouldn't have been that comfortable with anybody unless they were playing Benedictine.
Yeah, there's never.
You would have been happy with anything. Yeah, we would have found a reason to be upset about the Dolphins and playing them. So there's no great convenient time, but yeah, there's an excitement just because he's unknown.
Kenny, offensive line, if you want to get into nitty-gritty analysis, it could be a different offensive line than we saw last week with the revolving door, the turnstile, both at left tackle and right tackle. Do you think there might be a shot even against the Brian Flores defense that with Conklin potentially going, and we'll hear from Stefanski coming up in about 20 minutes, the Cam Robinson trade, do you think the offensive line has a chance to get better now?
Well, yeah, it has to. It can't get much worse. Well, I shouldn't say that. The interior offensive line, I still think, has been pretty solid. It's just the ends. The guys on the bookends have been bad. They need Jack Conklin back like they need air. They need to set that up. I thought he was going to come back. I was disappointed. I thought he was going to come back this last week, and he didn't come back in this last game against Detroit. I thought he was going to be back against the Lions. He wasn't. So that was disappointing. Maybe he just needed another week. I'm not sure. But it's an elbow. It's not a back. It's not a leg. I can't say anything more. It's just I was like, well, this is distressing because I'm thinking, well, you could have maybe put him on short-term IR if you really wanted to. But either way, they need him back. And Mike Bloomgren's got his work cut out for him because he's got to get new guys figured into this offensive line and this run scheme because they got to try to set the tone by running the ball again. Because now, before you had an old guy who couldn't see who just wasn't seeing the field. He wasn't making the throws. He wasn't seeing the field. Now you have a young guy who's by nature, because he's young, probably not going to see the field. So you need that run game like crazy coming up on Sunday morning. So they will need Quinshon Judkins, and they will need their run game going. And that means that these guys are going to have to learn how to move forward very, very quickly. And I mean, in the literal sense of getting forward, getting downhill, getting some blocking going, figuring out your keys, and rolling right through. And getting these guys off on a good start on second down and short, making it second down and short, getting a first down, not goofing around on second and short and turning it into third and long because we're doing stupid things. Like, there's a lot of things that they have to do in a short amount of time. And you're playing a team that, again, has already adjusted to Europe and has already had a loss over there. So they're going to be loaded for bear in their own right over there.
Well, good news. The Vikings' offensive line is as good as the Browns, and Carson Wentz got sacked 7 times last week. So maybe Myles Garrett will have himself a London feast.
Ken, I said this. I think Myles Garrett could single-handedly win a game this week.
Well, yeah.
You don't think he's gonna get at least one strip sack? I feel like that is inevitable.
Man, you're guaranteeing one strip sack. It's almost like guaranteeing home runs. It's almost like guaranteeing a Browns victory to a bunch of kindergarten children.
Who would do such a thing?
Yeah, he could have that. I'm sure he'll get to I think he'll get probably 2 sacks. I don't know about strip sacks, but yeah, there's definitely. They got to create turnovers any way they can. They got to get it any way they can because it's right in front of them there. So I think that England will get the full. I think based on what Daryl just said, and Daryl's right. I think England's going to get the full middle of the road to back end of the NFL experience. I want them to know what they got ahead of them. And if they want to
send England our finest, Ken.
What?
We send England our finest from the National Football League every year.
You driving back today, Kenny?
They don't deserve our best yet. They get a little bit, but they don't deserve the best. What'd you say there, Tom?
You driving back today?
No, we're flying.
Oh, you are flying. I was telling people the whole time
Congratulations on all your success.
Yeah, maybe you got upgraded. I thought you were driving this whole time, man.
I didn't get upgraded into nothing. I would have let. No, we flew down, and we're going to fly back.
All right. I know you have the temperament sometimes for rather have a car ride than a flight all the way back, but
yeah,
I know you'll work your way through
You
it.
listening to Leonard Skinner or Buddy Holly on the way?
Oh, come on. Owen, that's ridiculous.
God, you psycho.
Okay, hopefully you got some of those masks I saw on Instagram. Hopefully you're bringing those back for Halloween because we're on video now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. No, they were like $100 at least.
$100?
Yeah, there was a guy sitting there, and he was making them. It was like they were like Fabergé or something.
The remove your clothes masks.
Yeah. I'm like, these guys, they really wanted you to participate in an orgy.
You had to have the password and everything.
Money on a match.
Clothes.
Yeah.
Or would you like us to do it for you?
Best piece of trivia, by the way, you know who played that role, don't you?
No.
It was Kubrick's personal assistant. There's a great documentary about him.
Amazing. Ken's seen every documentary. It's amazing. Kenny, we'll see you Monday.
All right, we'll see you Monday. God bless.
All right, there he is, Ken Carman. I thought he was going to guarantee a win or something. Throw it in there. He wouldn't even guarantee the strip sack. I'm guaranteeing it right now.
That's nice.
All right, 216-474-0092. Reason for optimism this week. Plus, we will hear from Kevin Stefanski coming up in, well, at least 12 minutes. We will keep you updated. Also, hear from Dylan Gabriel,
It'd
who
be
is talking.
22 if it was.
Okay, we'll find out. We will find out right here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
educates each client on every aspect of a diamond, going well beyond the 4 C's, so you know you're getting the highest quality at the best price. In addition, Scheiben Jewelers stands behind every engagement ring, including a lifetime manufacturer warranty, lifetime cleaning and inspections, and much more. Visit Scheiben Jewelers in Strongsville today.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With great deals coming this Prime Big Deal Days, October 7th and 8th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye, make way for the baron of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the Lord of the Loaves, Prime Member Dave!
Hi?
Get up to 40% off with Prime Big Deal Days, October 7th and 8th.
From the Kissling, Nestico, and Reddick Traffic Center. Call 1-800-HURT-NOW.
This is brought to you by Home Genius Exteriors. Home Genius Exteriors. Roofing, siding, windows done right.
Lock in amazing fall deals for your new roof with Home Genius Exteriors. Get 50% off materials, plus 0% APR and free attic insulation. Call Home Genius Exteriors at 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. See website for details.
There's heavy congestion 71 north from Denison to 90, 176 north from 480 to West 14th, and 90 east from West 41st to Carnegie. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
So much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Not going to write us off. We could go 82-0. No one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. How he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Well, the baseball season came to an end in Cleveland yesterday in a 6-3 Guardians defeat to the Detroit Tigers in Game 3 of the Wild Card Series. This is manager Stephen Vogt being asked in his post-game press conference yesterday, talking about what sort of things the team could improve on.
Everything. We just need to continue to get better. We can nitpick and we can talk about little things here, little things there. At the end of the day, we just need to execute in all areas of the game. And I'm so proud of our guys, but it still stings.
Now, he's obviously never going to say it in his press conferences, but I do wonder in the back of his head if he's like, we need a hitter, we need another pitcher, we need this and that. It's just going to be like, general, we need to get better.
There's no doubt when a manager, links up with or interviews with the Guardians or the Rays or the Pirates or, it's like 20 teams in Major League Baseball. They kind of do know what they're signing up for.
Yeah.
So that's the first part of this, but that's not going to change the frustration level when he's trying to rely on guys that probably have no business being counted on in these moments. I mean, hey, the DeLauder story is amazing. It was really cool. His family, the way the broadcast talked about it. But let's face it, that's just not happening with the Yankees, the Dodgers. That's just not happening with those teams. And he might end up being a sensational player. Owen's right. I mean, I don't pay attention to this stuff as much as probably many of the diehards do. So this has a chance to be awesome down the road. Chase DeLauder is just not in that situation on some of the teams that are title contenders. That's just a fact.
Look, I think Stephen Vogt handled the questions about as well as you could without actually being completely honest about the situation. He's working well with what he's given. And that's just kind of the reality of the situation. The mood in the clubhouse, though, a little different story. They all know they need back.
Well, and Tuesday,
Vogt knew what he signed up for, right? He came from being a player to 1 year as a bullpen coach. He's been around. His whole career was essentially what we've been seeing, right? So he knew what he was getting into. He has to cook with the ingredients that he's given, and his ingredients aren't, as always, the top shelf ingredients that the other ball
He's not
folks
dealing with filet mignon here.
Tuesday, you will hear it's the locker cleanout day and all that, but Antonetti, Chernoff, imagine you'll be hearing from both of them on Tuesday.
And you'll see the line outside on East 9th.
Always great to see.
All the moves that they don't plan on making this offseason.
As far as the two other games went last night, the Yankees beat the Red Sox in their division series. They'll go on to face Toronto. In the National League, the Cubs beat the Padres 3-1. This was in the ninth inning. This was 1 out, 1 man on base with the Padres. Xander Bogaerts struck out on a controversial pitch that, according to the broadcast crew, would have been probably changed with ABS set to take place next year. This was Bogaerts after the game.
It's a ball. It messed up the whole game. Can't go back in time and talking about it now won't change anything. So it was bad, and thank God for ABS next year, because this is terrible.
The way we lost was tough yesterday, but I'm happy it did not come down to a call like that.
Let me tell you something. Watch the video. The umps had to walk through the Padres dugout to get to the clubhouse after the game, and the players unloaded. I mean, unloaded on these umpires. There was screaming, cussing. It looked like they were spitting at the ump. I don't know if they did, but it looked like it. The tensions, there was a flare up there. It was crazy to see. You don't normally see that. Normally the umps have a different way, or there's a delay before something like this can go down. But next year we will have the robot umps to some extent.
Yeah, but keep in mind it's going to be limited. You only get 2 challenges, and it's the pitcher, the catcher, the batter.
That's the signal they have to
Mitch is giving the signal. We're on radio,
Guardians, it's also the Guardians' signature. We're on YouTube as well.
We are on YouTube. I appreciate that, but you're also, in the meantime, until we're 100% video exclusive, you're going to have to explain to the radio audience how this is
What
going.
is the signal they have to give?
It's literally the same thing as the Guardians' a celebration when they get on base, just the tap of the head.
That. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to change the celebration.
They probably are, actually. Finally here, we had yesterday Grant Delpit among the many Browns press conferences over across the pond. Had some fun with the British press, comparing Cleveland to another city.
I know you guys don't know much about Cleveland Browns, man. We're going to do what we can do. Cleveland's a great place. It's a lot like Miami, if you ever heard of Miami. It's like Miami. So if y'all come visit, hey, we'll welcome y'all with open arms.
As someone who's been to both Cleveland and Miami, it's not like Miami.
Wait, we have a body of water here. I mean, I know Lonzo Ball.
We have Edgewater Beach.
Yeah, figured that out. Dude, Edgewater people are blown away. I'm being dead honest. People in the summer, okay, for 30 days. But when people see Edgewater Beach, they are blown away that we have
Village is essentially Miami Gardens, right?
I mean, come on.
Right,
Huntington Beach is amazing. California has a Huntington Beach. We have a Huntington Beach there as well.
And Upper Sandusky's like Key West.
And there is the adult portion of Menor Headlands that, we weren't supposed to go to when I was young. But it was there. It wasn't exactly the adult version at the Wind Pool in Vegas when I came back telling those stories, but it is nice to have. Yeah. Welcome people from London. When they come on in, they can experience all that.
And that's it for About Last Night.
All right. When we come back, nice job, Mitch. We have Kevin Stefanski live in London. We will play that for you. And look, we already got the call. We know it's going to be Dylan Gabriel, but is Conklin going to go at right tackle? Is he going to be able to protect the blind side? We'll hear from him. And we will hear from Dylan Gabriel as well, coming up on 92.3 The Fan. Anthony Live before the young team, Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan. There's nobody better here in Northeast Ohio to help you out when you're looking to sell your home. Listen, I bought my first home with the young team, but a lot of people on the fence when it comes to selling. They have so many people in their corner telling them not a good time, especially with the volatility and the mortgage rates, which may finally be dipping after all of this, but the real ones know, especially when it comes to real estate. The young team truly can help you out. My buddy just has the wherewithal. He has the know-how. He has a dedicated staff of superstars. I call them rock stars because they have been able to sell so many homes, like Ray from Twinsburg, who is looking to offload a condo, and he was able to do it right here in Northeast Ohio because he wanted a smooth, streamlined transition.
midnight. All the best segments from all our shows, you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
Practice going on as we speak right now in London. Immediately after that, we will take it to Kevin Stefanski and Dylan Gabriel. They will be speaking not only to our intrepid reporters from Northeast Ohio who are covering the beat in London, but also the international media. Do you think they're going to get Shedeur Sanders questions? Do you think they are hip to how things are working here? That seems to be the only time they create a national storyline at all, even with going to Dylan Gabriel this week.
I hope that if there are Shedeur Sanders questions asked, that Kevin Stefanski mimes them. What
did you think? Well, Mitch would try to do that here in studio and expect that to play on the radio.
Well, I mean, he did tap his head and expect everyone to know on the radio that that's now the signal for the replay challenge.
I did appreciate that. So, Daryl, they made the move to Dylan Gabriel this week, and I was thinking to myself, man, what must Dylan Gabriel's family and friends be thinking as they turn in to the national, the networks on the football coverage, and they go, oh, I can't wait to see what they say about our buddy or our brother or,
Is he wearing
my
lifts
nephew.
in his cleats?
Yeah, what are they talking about when it comes to Dylan Gabriel and chances to win in London? That's a big game. It's going to be a standalone window.
How about Mary Kay teasing her Dylan Gabriel article with the Browns gave up 7 inches plus 17 years of experience and all that. I laughed when I saw her post that on X. I legit laughed out loud when the Browns gave up 7 inches.
Maybe height's overrated after all. But I'm thinking to myself, what must they be thinking? And Jason Lloyd said that's a good thing for Dylan Gabriel because
the pressure's not here yet.
The pressure's off. Like there's no pressure. I mean,
anything he does is great. He's a 3rd-round pick. Anything he does is gravy. He's a 3rd-round pick who's undersized, extremely intelligent. He's a great kid. I have no expectation that this guy's going to go out and save the season.
Well, no,
there's no for me. I don't think that there's any pressure on him because I don't think anyone looks at him like he's the developmental franchise quarterback of the future here. So this is all gravy. If he goes out and lights up the Minnesota Vikings Sunday afternoon in London, fantastic. And if he doesn't, what did you expect?
Well, let me ask you this, because clearly the offense was not working with all that size, all that height, all that experience of the 40-year-old Joe Flacco. He was standing tall in the pocket.
Statue.
Not
able to move.
So now you have the element of some mobility. Could that help as they move that pocket, as they get him on the rollouts? The stuff we saw,
Kevin. It might be more entertaining. I think that's what's going to change, right? The fact that there's going to be more movement. They're going to roll up. They're going to try and create passing lanes for him and space for him to see down the field, so he's not having to look through the offensive and defensive lines. Although we did see at Oregon, he was really good at creating those passing lanes within the pocket. But I think getting him outside the pocket a little bit is going to help. Maybe we're going to get some more throws down the field. We've not seen a vertical passing game this year, which has been frustrating to watch because it's all been check down, dink, and dunk. The longest, I made a joke last week. I think they completed a 35-yard pass, and I said, a 35-yard pass completion for the Browns in this economy? Because it's been that bad. There's been no explosiveness with this offense. So maybe he can bring that element. Look, and if he's able to bring those elements, Anthony, then yeah, maybe you have a little bit of a shot. But right now, had they stuck with Flacco, you're basically leaning on Quinshon Judkins touching the ball 25 times and hoping that 1 or 2 of those touches ends up with him in the end zone.
Well, you were especially hard on Dylan Gabriel from what you were seeing in training camp.
Well, I mean, it was like watching Eric Mangini practices. They couldn't complete passes. They couldn't get first downs. They couldn't. They were running a red zone drill, and we're having conversation on the sidelines about a screen pass. That do we give him the touchdown on that? Would he have scored, or would the linebacker have blown him up before the goal line? Like that's what it was like watching those practices. Now, I gave Dylan Gabriel credit during the preseason because he looked pretty good in the preseason games. He operated things efficiently. The offense seemed to have a little bit of a flow and a rhythm and a tempo to it, and I give him his credit for that. And look, I hope that that's what we see this Sunday, that we don't just kind of continue to see what we had, with Joe Flacco under center. But like, I'm not going to sit here and act like, or I should say, put it on this kid to be the savior. That all of a sudden everything is going to drastically change offensively, and the fortunes of the Cleveland Browns are going to be reversed because Dylan Gabriel's the starting quarterback. Because I don't think that that's fair to Dylan. Like, he's still the third-round pick, even though during camp, the reason I'm so hard on him, they're giving him first-team reps. He's the first guy under center in practice, in team drills. So if you're going to treat him like a first-round pick, well, I got to kind of look at it because he's going to play. You clearly were prepping him to play. I didn't think we'd get to week 5 and he'd be on the field, though. I thought we'd be 6, 7, 8 weeks into the season before we had this move made, and here we are.
Well, byproduct of just how absolutely terrible the offense has been. Joe Flacco has been at the bottom, close to Cam Ward, basically at the bottom of the NFL in terms of all the quarterback play so far. And as we wait for Kevin Stefanski to take it live from the podium in London, the receivers, there's been no chemistry with Jerry Jeudy at all with Joe Flacco. I think that has been, very obvious.
Yeah, and we got game statuses out. Jack Conklin, Greg Newsome, they're both questionable. Mike Hall, as we know, did not make the trip. He is out.
Okay, so, we're still waiting on the Conklin news, and we'll see if we get a little bit more from Coach. But
he's been questionable each of the last 3 weeks, did not play. Just saying.
But the Jerry Jeudy thing has been perplexing because what has been the book on Jerry Jeudy, as tumultuous as his time in Denver was, elite route runner that can always create some space, that can always have that knack to create enough space where you can deliver the ball. Whether you say, all right, Joe Flacco's been a little late or he's been a little off target, at the same time, like, those two have just not been the times when he has been accurate. The ball's gone off his hands. He has not been able to reel it in. Do you have any reason to believe that Jerry Jeudy, Daryl, could breathe some new life into his season? Because where it is right now, not only we talk about him being a number one,
right?
Like he's not an NFL number one. He's not even a Cleveland Browns number one if this continues.
He is, from my standpoint, he's being asked to be a number one while he's really a number 2. Okay, and again, I'm not dogging Jerry Jeudy. He's not a number 1. He's number 2. I do. And remember last year, and he mentioned this. I think it was last week when we talked to him. He did mention he started slow last year. And then as the season progressed and went on, and the quarterback changes went on, things got better for him. So maybe this will open some things up for him as well. We'll see. But, it has been a slow start. And, Jerry Jeudy has been partially responsible for this offense sputtering a little bit because he's had some balls thrown his way that he should have caught.
But not only that, he is an emotional player, and he kind of fits the stereotype of, stud wide receiver, first-round draft pick, gobs of talent, the route running again. You see it isolated. You're like, holy cow, how does anybody ever stay within, 2 feet of that guy once he breaks out of his route? And yet,
he always feels he's open, too. Remember, we had that conversation at the Baltimore game about guys getting open, being open, et cetera, and he told Jeff Shudell to watch the film, and, I watched it. He didn't look all that open to me, but the mentality of the receiver is, I'm always open, no matter what. I could have 2, 3 corners draped on. I'm open, always. So, I think there's maybe a little lost in translation going on there, but, it'll be interesting to see if Dylan Gabriel can thread the needle into some of those tight windows, because the windows in the NFL lot tighter than they are in college.
I kind of get the sense, Judy is a player that when things are going well, he's awesome. He's an
it's
awesome
when they're not
luxury.
going well that you get, because all the things we were hearing from Denver, and keep in mind, it wasn't going well in Denver, right? And that's part of the reason why he got so frustrated with the quarterback situation and they weren't winning and all that. Yeah, he is. When things are going great, he's great. When things are going south, he tends, I think, to go south.
Well, he wears his frustrations on his sleeve. And that's common with a lot of wide receivers in this league, but you could tell, like, from the get-go, he's just not been on the same page with Joe Flacco at all. Right. And it didn't look like he was enjoying the experience playing with Flacco. And in turn, I want to be fair here, Flacco, when you read between the lines, because he wasn't going to throw anybody under the bus,
right?
You could tell Joe Flacco was like, come on, man, you're a veteran. You're a veteran. We talked about this. When it's press coverage, I'm going to you. The very few opportunities we have to take a shot, when it's that man-to-man coverage, like, I got to be able to rely on you. And it's been the furthest thing from it. He has not been able to rely on Jerry Jeudy at all. And this Browns offense, just, if they're not going to get the running game, going the way they wanted to, and I understand there are reasons for that with the offensive line, and Judkins was not at training camp, all that stuff, I understand. But if we know that we're not going to be an explosive running team yet, like, you've got to be able to count on Jerry Jeudy. You have to. You can't just throw the ball to tight ends the entire game. This is in Penn State.
Tillman's hurt now, so you can't count on him because he's not available. And look, everything we said about the receiver room and what's missing, unfortunately it's coming to fruition here, and it's a little bit of little frustrating, but they don't have a lot in that receiver room, and so even more gets put on Jerry Jeudy's plate to kind of carry things in the passing game, fair or not. And that's why it'd be nice to see David Njoku a little bit this weekend, do a little something. I haven't seen much of him to date. Harold Fannon's been fantastic
when he catches it. Yeah,
when he catches, Dylan Sampson, he's kind of the coming out of the backfield guy, right? Catching it, but. I'm sure that Stefanski and Tommy Rees are going to try and build some of those safety valves in there for Dylan Gabriel on Sunday against the Vikings, and it'll be interesting to see what the Vikings throw Dylan Gabriel's way. Because
all right, let me get to Mike and Shaker. We might have to interrupt you if Stefanski comes up to the podium. They're still practicing right now in London, but we'll carry that live. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, hey, Jerry Jeudy was never a number one as far as I'm concerned. He's not consistent enough. He'll have a good game or two, and then all of a sudden he's having the drops or he's running the wrong route. What they should have did possibly was did what Metcalf and Rodgers did, got together over the summer so they can learn each other, and that way it would have been an easier connection because,
Mike, hold on. The problem, it's a great point. The problem is, we didn't know who the starting quarterback was going to be. We had a four-way competition, 2 for the starter, 2 for the backup. How much chemistry are you going to be able to build in an offseason and through a training camp when that's going on?
They knew that what you call is going to be the starter.
Yeah, there are people that thought it'd be Kenny Pickett. Jason Lloyd said it was going to the Pickett.
I thought it was going to be Kenny Pickett. I thought that's who they wanted was Kenny Pickett. Then he got hurt.
Yeah, well, maybe they messed up the whole thing when they kept doing this quarterback exchange and stuff, going around trying to find out number one quarterback. I don't know.
All right, Mike. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. That
could have get an argument for me. I thought that the four-man quarterback competition thing was complete nonsense. It should have been a two-man race. They should have said.
Well, it was a two-man race for the starter job.
But that wasn't the messaging.
All right, we're going to go to Coach Kevin Stefanski in London. Here on 92.3 The Fan, your home of the Cleveland Browns. And your home for international press conferences.
He's on the left side of the podium and stuff.
There is hustle and a bustle there in London.
We're going to fade him back down.
There's a lot of activity as they get all of that straightened out. We're also going to hear from Dylan Gabriel today. 2 times we get the youngster to speak.
He gets to talk to the international press today.
Is he speaking a second time because Shador got the media opportunity?
He must be.
Is that why it is? Are we going to see?
Shador technically did not say anything.
No, he didn't. To his credit, the media told him to shut up. You're the third-string quarterback. We don't want to hear from you. And he obliged.
Yeah, but he didn't oblige the way he should have. And that was...
Oh, come on, Daryl. Have some fun. Shador's just a young kid having some fun out there. Having fun at Rex Ryan's expense. What's the big deal?
Who hasn't had fun at Rex Ryan's expense, though?
Do we think Stefanski is going to be asked about that? Or do we already have that window? Because, you know what, they left...
Wouldn't that have been asked yesterday?
You never know. You got new media, though.
Oh, no, that's right. It was coordinator day yesterday.
Yeah, coordinator day. That's right.
Coordinator day. Yeah.
And you've got some new media that are going to be out there.
How many silly questions does Kevin Stefanski get asked by the international press?
Well, that's the thing. This is
are we going to get, because we know, Zach Jackson's there, Chris Easterling's there, Mary Kay's there. Like they're gonna ask the hardcore beat questions.
Yeah.
But how much silliness is Kevin Stefanski going to have to deal with today from the international press?
Well, this isn't the Super Bowl press, right? Like we want to go viral. We want to go.
It's a little different over there, though. I mean, you've seen
they
some
even
of the...
care? I keep hearing about, hey, we're going to get all these international teams, and every time, it's so funny. Anytime I've ever come across somebody from overseas or in Europe, they do not care. But Kevin Stefanski might care, and here he is. On the home of the Browns, Sports Radio, 92.3
Okay, good to
Fan.
be here. It's a privilege for us to be over here playing in this series. It's a special thing for our league, for our organization. So we take it very seriously that we get this honor to be over here. So it's a great experience for our players, obviously being here, and they've handled it really well, as you'd imagine. We were very lucky with our organization to be able to do this and do it first class, and the logistics of everything, it's just been outstanding. So with that said, we have had a good week of practice, which we had to have. It was a good Wednesday back in Berea. Then Thursday did a good job handling that, which is a unique day. And then today really is a normal, quote-unquote, Friday for us. And I thought the guys did a really nice job. So huge challenge this week against a good football team, a team that we have a lot of respect for just from their players, their coaches. It's going to be a very, very big challenge for our football team. But I'm excited for these guys. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Kevin Gregg appeared on the injury report yesterday. Having questionable. When did the injury happen? Wednesday? When did that happen?
Yeah, I think Wednesday. Maybe there was something lingering, maybe from the game, but Wednesday.
I know you listed him as questionable. Is this something you feel like, right up to the game time, or do you feel like,
We'll see. Yeah, it's he's working through it, so we'll see.
How about Jack? Jack is also questionable.
Yeah, I'd say similar there, Mary Kay. Has been pushing really hard these last few weeks, so I'm hopeful, but we got to get through the next few days.
Kevin, what went into the factors for travel schedule, practicing Wednesday in Berea, and how are the players, how do you see them acclimating to the travel and the change of...
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I know some teams come in early, some teams come in late. We kind of came right in the middle there on Wednesday night. We just felt like it was important for the players, coaches to have as normal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as you can, because that's the bulk of the game planning for the coaches. That's a very big work day for the players on that Wednesday. So we felt like that was the right time. And then, as you can see here, they make it very easy on us to have a normal Friday practice. The facility here is outstanding, and everything went really smoothly.
What about tomorrow? Do you go to the stadium? Or you just...
We'll stay here, yes.
Do the kickers go to the stadium?
No.
Can you talk about how Dylan has looked, how he's handled the week? Again, it's a weird week. How is he doing?
Yeah, he's handled it as you would expect. Mary Kay's been on top of everything, preparing. He's diligent about his preparation, so spending a lot of time with him. As you know, when you're on these trips, you get to spend a lot of time together. Any given moment you can go grab some time to go sit and watch some film, so he's taking advantage of that.
For a rookie to come in and, kind of this early in his career and get to start and, gain the respect because, Grant and Joel all talk about, how impressed they've been about him. What does that say? What does that say about Dylan? And how do you feel like he is what he's done to kind of earn that?
Well, I think, all these guys are different. And with Dylan, he's unique and he's very mature, but also his college career was like no other in terms of experience. So he can lean on that experience in these situations, but he's not all rookies are the same in terms of their experience, whether they come in. We have some guys that were 20 years old when we first drafted them, right? And then you have some guys that have been in college for 6 seasons like Dylan, and he's like Tom Callahan's son. But he's got a lot of experience that he can lean on in these moments.
Coach, welcome over to London. Are you able to clarify the situation behind Dylan now? Is it still Joe Flacco as the number 2 and Shador at number 3?
Yes, Joe's the backup. Shador's the emergency quarterback.
So having made the move now with Dylan moving ahead of you, what would a guy like Shador need to do to move himself up?
Yeah, all of our players, and I'd include Shador in this, are working extremely hard. We just finished our period after practice that we do every single day. Just finished a red zone 7-on-7 period where Shador and the rest of the younger guys are working on 10 reps. So he needs to continue to do exactly what he's been doing and continue to do what all these guys are doing, which is just keep working.
Was there anything factored into with Brian Flores' very difficult defense in Minnesota? Did that play a role at all, or was that a factor you thought about with this decision at quarterback?
Yeah, Coach Flores does an amazing job. I have a ton of respect for Flo and that entire defense, their staff, their players. So it is a huge challenge whether you're, a seasoned vet or a rookie. It really doesn't matter. It's a big challenge any which way.
In terms of the tackle situation for Dylan heading into this game, a little bit of uncertainty there, obviously. Do you know if Cam is ready to go on the left side?
We'll see. Mary Kay, he's done a nice job in everything we've asked him to do. He's very intelligent. He's played in a bunch of different systems. He's played over here quite a bit, so he's kind of giving everybody tips of London. But he's coming along, so we'll see.
And as far as Jack is concerned, how beneficial would it be for your lefty QB to have Jack over there?
Sure. I think obviously we've been trying to get the right combinations there and see who's healthy. And Jack's working back. And like I said, I'm hopeful, but needs to see how he does over the next 48 hours.
How do you feel playing against your ex-team, fancy that you also Max Johnson?
Yeah, it's always exciting when you can go up against a team that people well. For me, so many coaches change, players change, and there's so many people in that building that have been there for a long time. And I was there as a young coach, and there's still some people there that I stay in contact with. So it'd be great, probably in pregame, to rhythm up and say hi to some people.
What do you see, Coach, from Minnesota as a team? They've had some problems keeping in Dublin last week, keeping the quarterback upright. Do you see anything from them particularly?
Their offense or their defense, you say?
Offensively, Castle went to set
right. 6
times in Dublin. What do you see from their offense that you can hopefully keep them quiet?
Well, obviously, every game is a challenge, and every game is a different, unique challenge. And for us, we need to focus on doing all the things that we do in our system and understand that they'll have a plan for our rushers. They'll have a plan in terms of how they want to attack this game. But we just have to make sure that we stay true to who we are.
How do you plan to stop? How do you plan to kind of stop? Jordan Addison back on the field alongside Justin Jefferson. How do you?
Yeah, they're two. Great players, and they do an excellent job moving them around. Justin Jefferson is elite. Addison is really good. He can make every route. He can get down the field with unbelievable speed. So it's a huge challenge. I feel like every week you're going up against some of these guys that are just they're world beaters. This is a really good group of playmakers.
How did Miles move around out there today? How did he look? And are you kind of relieved that he doesn't have injury designation today?
Yeah, I think he looked like himself. Obviously, moved around well, and that's a credit to Miles to get himself ready for these games.
Cam, Wyatt was saying earlier in the week that duos are the rule. That at the end of the day, plays are plays. It doesn't matter. They don't ultimately change that much. What's the biggest thing he had to do to transition from where he was in Houston to here? What's kind of the biggest hurdle?
I think for any player, when you get to a new place, it so often is terminology and translating one word that means something to another word that means something that's the same. Then you get into you can get into it where our word may not mean exactly what he had a similar code word. So there's just a lot of unlearning that has to happen. Fortunately for us, he's very, very intelligent. He's been in a bunch of different systems, so he's kind of heard it all, quote unquote. So he's done a nice job with this week. We'll see how it goes over the next 48.
Coach, one unique element that you have with London this week is James Cook coming home.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about how impressed you've been with him so far in the organization?
Yeah, James has done an outstanding job with us in just a short amount of time. We were just talking about the period that we do after practice for our young players to develop them, and that's really James is running the show there. And we are at the Cleveland Browns. We're very intentional about development, and having a guy like James heading that up is we're very fortunate.
How would you specifically like to spend the Saturday before a game back in Cleveland, and how's that going to differ this weekend?
I'll probably see a lot more of the Grove, go for a walk. Saturday afternoons are kind of just get off your feet and watch TV or have the TV watch you.
In terms of, do you think either of your rookie receivers that you guys signed off the practice squad will have a chance to contribute this weekend?
Yeah, I think so, Mary Kay. I think both are young players that we're trying in different areas, see where they can contribute, whether it's offense, special teams, but really like how those guys have been working.
Coach, how much did this being an international game contribute into this being the first game that Dylan's going to start?
I did not really factor into it. There's a lot goes into making decisions like that, and certainly understanding that we were traveling and those type of things, but really ultimately when you're making those decisions, you're trying to just do what's best for the team.
Good.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right, that was Kevin Stefanski. Momentarily, we will send it back out to London to hear from Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback. We're going to stick with it. Break format. No commercial break going.
That's the plan right now.
Folks, you got a Tommy Boy reference. That was my takeaway. Also, I guess Greg Newsome, they're not exactly sure if he's going to be able to go.
Yeah, hamstring.
But, with the hamstring injury. When did that
Wednesday.
flare? Oh, that's okay. So,
and then had to fly to London, so I'm sure that helped.
Yeah. Nothing yet specifically on whether or not we're going to get a change at right tackle. Jack Conklin. I mean,
a very serious Friday press conference there. I'm a little disappointed in the international press.
Yeah. Are you thinking we're going to see Conklin or not? Were you getting the vibe? You've heard more press conferences of Coach than anybody.
Listen, if I had $1 for every time Kevin Stefanski said day to day and the guy wasn't available, I'd be rich. So I'm not optimistic that Conklin's going to be ready.
All right, we will cut away and then come back and listen to Dylan Gabriel from London. You're listening to Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
more bark, more bite. Must be 21 plus and present in Ohio. See site for full terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. Ballybet Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Cleveland Browns. Download.
Let them know, Cavs fans. Let them know.
The Cavs promo schedule is here. The season is packed with incredible giveaways, including 2 exclusive bobbleheads and special theme nights like City Edition and Fan Appreciation Day.
Mitchell fakes the pass, now lobs it to Allen. Pow! Oh, what a pass from Donovan Mitchell.
Visit Cavs.com/promo for the full promotional schedule and secure your tickets today.
Mitchell on the right side. Mitchell around an Allen screen. Stops 3. Perfect!
Hey, don't be pressured when it's time to shop for an engagement ring. Stop in and see Josh at Bookman & Son, where jewelry shopping is made easy and comfortable. BookmanandSon.com.
Think you need a new roof? Think again. Avoid an expensive roof replacement and restore your roof with RoofMax. 855-ROOF-MAX. That's 855-ROOF-MAX.
All day long. All day.
All the time.
At work.
923thefan.com and the Odyssey app.
Check it out.
With Dylan, he's unique and he's very mature, but also his college career was like no other in terms of experience. Not all rookies are the same in terms of their experience, whether they come in. We have some guys that were 20 years old when we first drafted them, right? And then you have some guys that have been in college for 6 seasons like Dylan, and he's like Tom Callahan's son. But he's got a lot of experience that he can lean on in these moments.
A lot of people go to college for 7 years.
I know. They're called doctors.
How about the Tommy Boy reference? And he got nothing. He got nothing.
He got crickets from the room.
Yeah. Owen, if you can get back, I know Owen's doing 1,000 things at once, and we're going to get to Dylan Gabriel live from London. But you could tell at the end he's expecting some reaction there.
And then he had to laugh at his own joke.
I've done that before.
He pulled a Daryl there. I usually have to laugh at my own joke because no one gets the reference.
There's nothing worse than when that goes down and it doesn't go, but it should have gone. People on social media caught it.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of people that said, "Did you see that?" And then I tweeted it. They're like, "Did he just make a Tommy Boy reference about Dylan Gabriel?"
So the Kevin Stefanski you hear in these press conferences is not Kevin Stefanski. I'm telling you. I've been lucky to have a lot of conversations with Kevin over the years. He is a real funny guy in person. He really is. He's got a great personality. He just refuses to show any of it in his press conferences, but that was a great drop by him. That was a fantastic drop by him, and then he gets nothing.
Got crickets.
And so he snickers a little bit and still gets nothing from anyone.
Because they weren't expecting it, Daryl. It was a sneak attack. Is Kevin Stefanski feeling relaxed and comfortable about this weekend with Dylan Gabriel? Does he make that joke?
I think he's feeling
if he has
pretty
Joe
good.
Flacco under center. It's nice to see some personality once in a while from the coach.
I'm telling you, man, Kevin, like I said, he is a sneaky, hilarious dude. He really is.
So 64 games for Dylan Gabriel in college. We always wonder.
That's quite a bit, by the way.
That's unbelievable.
That's a lot of games.
I mean, remember, he was a part of the 2019 recruiting class. And, man, I'm faced with this each and every week I do the MAC games. I've got guys that are in their 7th year now.
Yeah.
So Dylan Gabriel didn't get a 7th year, but he had 6 years. And so how much of that do you think translates to the NFL? Because he's right. They took David Njoku very young.
Yep.
Dylan Sampson's the youngest player, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah.
Did he just turn 20?
I think he did.
He just turned 21 after the first game of the season.
Yeah. So it's insane. So you have varying degrees of experience, and a QB, like to have somebody have that many games, I think that's a big part of why they feel good making this move earlier than I think most would have felt comfortable doing it.
Well, not only that, but we had been hearing since training camp, I should say, Anthony, and even to a degree the offseason program, when Kevin would talk about him being ahead of the game a little bit, because he knows the offense, frontwards, backwards. I guess he can recite it in 20 different languages. He talks Paul DePodesta. He talks Andrew Berry. He talks Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees. He's there like from a between the ears type thing. Like he is their quintessential quarterback. Like if you could take Dylan Gabriel and give him Joe Flacco's size, you might have your franchise quarterback.
Oh, he might have gone number 1 overall, right?
Yeah, he might not have gotten to the Browns at number 2 overall, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And have an opportunity to trade that pick to Jacksonville. But they really love his intelligent approach to the game. And, we'll see if the mobility tools that he has, we'll see if his ability to find those passing lanes between all the traffic, the offensive and defensive line can he get outside the tackles and make some things happen down the field? We'll see if all that can come to fruition. But you listen to Kevin in that press conference, you can tell he's I think, feeling pretty confident. As confident as you'll hear Kevin Stefanski sound.
Yeah, well, I heard him, when he made the move, and I tweeted at the time, I'm like, man, I didn't think this sounded like the biggest vote of confidence ever, but the people that cover the team are like, no, that's Stefanski. That's how he is each and every time.
Yeah, and this quote from Myles Garrett that Zach Jackson just tweeted out, because Myles...
he was day-to-day, right?
Day-to-day, and I made the comment on a Wednesday. I'm like, well, we know what day-to-day usually means for the Browns. They're like going to have season-ending surgery, right? I mean, Jack Conklin's missed 3 weeks, and he's been day-to-day since then. You'll have to kill me to keep me from being on the field. That from Myles Garrett in London.
It's Halloween month. I mean, come on.
This is definitely Myles.
He gets up for this
season.
He's got the graveyard. Do we already have a Carson Wentz in the graveyard, right? He's been sacked by Myles. Remember that hellacious game? I think the wind was pretty bad. And then there was a game at the end of the year, a couple of years ago, where he was with the Commanders. Do I remember right? Where Carson Wentz was thrust into the starting role. Check me on that. I know we got our crack staff is working.
We did play the Commander, yes, because that was the game that who threw for like 85 yards and got a game ball.
Was that the one?
I'm pretty sure that's the same.
Was that
game,
the one? I have so many of these games to react to over time. I do remember making something of the game ball thing, and everybody ripped me. But whatever. When we come back, we will hear from Dylan Gabriel, Mason Graham talking as well, if anything comes out of that. Just to keep you updated, Myles Garrett will play. Greg Newsome is questionable. Conklin is questionable, but pushing to play. And when we come back, we'll hear more from the Browns in London here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Hey, friends, Ken Carman here for Window.
800-210-4471. Again, 800-210-4471.
92.3 The Fan has the most local sports talk in town, and you can be a part of it anytime you want. Weigh in on X at 92.3 The Fan and see our hosts make your reaction a part of our shows. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Browns players talking in London as we speak. They are speaking, and I think you're going to like what you hear out of Myles Garrett, just in terms of your level of confidence in a young quarterback. Remember that Myles Garrett, this offseason, he thought, well, we'll get to that in a second. But first, here's Dolan Gabriel, the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Right here on Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan, your home of Cleveland Browns football. Dolan Gabriel taking over for Joe Flacco. And here he will take some questions from the assembled media in London. Be great to hear from him.
How has this kind of, just irregular week gone for you with the travel and the change and everything? How's it been going?
Different, for sure. I'd be a liar if I said it wasn't. But, for me, there's comfort there, being from Hawaii. There's a lot of reminiscent of when we travel as a team together, and we'd have 6 to 8 hour flights to look forward to, and just think our team prepared us for it. So we're extremely excited all together, and now that we're here, it's a lot easier to settle in.
Dylan, has Joel told you that 21 starting quarterbacks is enough for him? He'd like you to keep your job for a while.
He hasn't told me that, but Joel's a great dude, and he's just a guy you look to and is very calming. Has played a bunch of ball, so you just have a lot of confidence when you see him in the huddle.
How different has this week really been now that you guys are 48 hours out?
We try to make it as similar of a week as you can, and that's just our process. And I felt like we have for other than yesterday traveling in and maybe doing a walkthrough instead of a true practice and a jog through. But other than that, we tried to make it as similar as possible.
Myles just said that you run this offense like it's your own, and everybody that we've talked to over the past few days just keeps talking about your poise, your confidence. Can you sort of address how did you arrive at that point already as a rookie?
Yeah, I think there's so many similar moments in your lifetime, and although it's a different level, I think the feelings are the same, and I've gotten better each time I've felt that feeling. And for me, I've just attacked it that way. There's a lot of comfort in the scheme because, that's part of why that, got me here is I've done it before. And I think the confidence in that is now you're learning new personnel, new people, but you come together and have ultimate confidence in the whole concepts that we run.
Dylan, has there been a different interaction for you with your teammates now that you're the starter, and what has that been like for you?
Not necessarily. I think I've always challenged myself to lead without status, and I think it was a challenge early for me because it was different, a role I've probably never been in, but I think that ultimately helped me to when now you do, get the spot to roll with, you can just attack it the same way. So it challenged me in that way, but now it's probably just a little more talking in the huddle and more reps, but ultimately it'll be good on, Sunday when we get to go.
Dylan, I'm assuming you probably had hundreds of messages from people this week. Are there one or maybe a handful that have been especially meaningful to you?
Yeah, a couple. I think all the coaches that I have great relationships with, and I don't want to miss any, but, my high school coach, Coach Rod, Coach Hype from UCF, Coach Golish, who's my OC there as well, Coach Leb, Coach Stein, Coach Lanning. So all those guys, people you appreciate, and then also my family, but for the most part too, it's something that you prepare for, and you're ready for. So it's not a text of congratulations of some sort. It's like, it's your time to go show the world.
Your folks will be here, right?
They won't be. So fun fact, need to get my dad a passport. So we're learning about that. Second, just a little later in the week. So, mom and dad, it's from Hawaii. You can imagine that flight's even further than what we just did. So.
Dylan, going back to the experience you had, your college experience, obviously college and pro are two different things. That said, what you've seen defensively, the various schemes, how much have you been able to kind of bring that along with you as you're adjusting to what you're seeing out of the NFL defenses?
I think it's interesting because, in college, sometimes, some may say the lack of personnel, they may have to add on to the scheme and do things that are unique to help in the run game and the pass game. I think in the NFL, obviously personnel is at all-time high, so there's extreme confidence in maybe coverages that you've repped a bunch of times. But for this, I think you take pride in, as a OC or DC, in the scheme that you have, and you want to rep at a high level. Ultimately, you're going to do what your players are good at. But as you continue to go up, it's a lot about personnel and putting guys in the right place to go make their plays. So just understanding that, and then understanding as a shell what they're trying to do.
Dylan, were you able to block out? You took some really harsh criticism during training camp, and you guys always say that you block out the noise. Did you truly block all of that out, or did some of it seep in, and if so, did it actually fuel you?
For me, I've always lived by, I'd rather be uninformed than misinformed, and everyone has the right to their opinion, and I understand that. But I don't necessarily block out the noise, I just choose not to be a part of it. And I think that's just a singular focus, and emotional regulation of there's a job to do, and there's something that you just want to focus on and do it at a high level. So that's what I do. Like I said, I respect everyone's opinion, and everyone, can say whatever they want. It's freedom of speech.
When we'll do a couple more. When that training camp out with the four quarterbacks, did you think you could win this job so soon into the season in week 5?
It wasn't ever about winning a job. It was just playing at my best, playing at a high level. I think when you continually do that and you're focused on your game, that'll naturally come. And the one time you're thinking about, I got to go win something, you just overreact or overdo rather than just serving the moment, and that's what I've been about the whole time.
Throughout this week, as you've worked with Tommy Reese and kind of stepping into this role, how has he helped you specifically? And as you guys you talked about yesterday, kind of tailoring the offense to your skill set in that sense to make you feel comfortable and acclimated. So how has he just helped you this week?
Yeah, I think just a bunch of conversations, and I think there's always a meeting prior to a meeting, and being able to have those conversations prior so you can understand what we're trying to do and do it at a high level. The more you see it, the more comfortable you are with it. And I said it last time, but the more turns you got at it, like Coach Musk says, you're just going to have a bunch of confidence, a bunch of comfort there. So just trying to do that, whether it's film, whether it's walkthroughs, whether it's walking or, looking at a play call and being able to, say the play and then go through the progression. So kind of a bit mixture of all that, but, trying to do it as best as possible.
Dylan, have you worked out how many people are going to be watching from Hawaii and what time of day it's going to be?
I haven't thought that far, but I would guess early in the morning. It is interesting. I've always been used to it when I was in Florida to Hawaii, a 6-hour difference. Texting family is a little different, but I really haven't even looked into it. But it's probably double, right? 12 hours? 11, yeah.
We're going to do 2 more.
How do you feel your preparation within this week? Not the part about traveling and the team, but how do you feel since you were in the start of your preparation?
I take pride in it. I think the preparation, allows you to be confident on game day, and really not even think about schematically what you're trying to do, but it's you hear the formation, you already know the play call. And I think that's something that I've always took pride in from every level. And I just continue to master that. I've even had 4 weeks prior to this to master how we go through a week. And for me, it's how do you fit in film in between there? How do you fit in meals? And as you can imagine, everything in between. And, I just continue to master it and don't think I'll ever stop.
Brian, can you just tell me how your first game as starter is going to be in London? Probably something that you never thought about before.
Yeah, never thought about. Obviously never happened, so there's a first for everything. But like I learned from my first, there's, it ain't ever going to be perfect. But, the preparation is key, and go out there and do what you do. But, we're blessed, we're grateful. We play a beautiful game, we'll be able to do it in front of new fans. And I think that's what football's all about, the diversity, the amount of people that love this game and are around it. There's beauty in that, and, that's what I'm most appreciative of.
Appreciate you all.
All right, that's it. Dylan Gabriel, I thought he had some very, very interesting things to say. And boy, did one of his star teammates have something very, very interesting to say about confidence levels. Boy, I'll tell you, if you just heard today, you just heard Myles Garrett talk, and if you just heard, and we'll play some of that for you coming up
Browns
next
by
hour.
40 Sunday.
Right? Like, I get it. It's easy to be confident before, but they're not. Sometimes you can read between the lines, and I'm reading between the lines, and you could throw this back in my face on Monday if things go disastrously bad in
They're
that game
feeling
against
really
Minnesota.
good.
Does it not feel like they think this offense could click this weekend? They think they have some opportunities there? That was my takeaway. That was my reading of what I heard from the head coach, from Dylan Gabriel, and you guys haven't heard it yet, but what I heard from Myles Garrett.
They're feeling really good. We'll see if it pays off on Sunday at 9:30 in the morning our time, 2:30 London time. But yeah, it almost feels like
3:30
they're
a.m.
feeling
Hawaii time.
Yeah, 3:30 in the morning. How'd you like to be Dylan Gabriel's parents right now? Getting up at 3:30 in the morning to watch him.
And this is how you know, by the way, Daryl.
And we just learned his parents need passports.
Yes,
apparently.
this is how you know this was not in the offing. It wasn't like, oh, we've known for a bunch of weeks. Like his parents were not ready for this, and they're not going to be attending this game because of the short notice and the decision this week from Kevin Stefanski.
I would advise him to skip the trip to Pittsburgh, too.
Oh, come on, Daryl. After all that confidence we just talked about. All right, when we come back, you'll hear from Myles Garrett why he is feeling good about the other side of the ball coming up this week. And you'll hear again from Dylan Gabriel. I heard one thing that stood out to me, and I think Daryl is going to get on the defensive coming up next hour here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
his bullpen, which he worked 7 1/3 scoreless innings in games 1 and 2. You know, 5 runs in the loss on Thursday. Baseball action elsewhere in the American League. The Yankees blanked the Red Sox 4-0. New York wins the series in 3 games. New York advancing to take on Toronto in the ALDS in the National League. The Cubs beat the Padres 3-1. Cubs win their first postseason series since 2017. They move on to face the Milwaukee Brewers. Want to catch highlights from the Fan from earlier today? Get over to 923thefan.com or favorite 923 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 923 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
The first place to hear locker room reaction after every game.
With that, I'll take any questions.
Guaranteed. It's the official post-game show. Quarterbacked by Jeff Phelps. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan.
You know, it wasn't ever about winning a job. You know, it was just playing at my best, playing at a high level. I think when you continually do that and you're focused on your game, that'll naturally come. The one time you're thinking about, you know, I got to go win something, you overreact or overdo rather than just serving the moment. And that's what I've been about the whole time.
Dylan Gabriel poised, ready to roll. His first NFL start. Meanwhile, looking for a winner. Enter the code word HOST, H-O-S-T, at 923thefan.com before 10 a.m. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to Nate Bargatze Big Dumb Eyes Tour this Friday, October 3rd at 7 p.m. at Rocket Arena. Tickets available. RocketArena.com, all from Outback Presents and Sports Radio. 92.3 The Fan. Browns wrapped up their final practice and press conferences in London. Also, the Guardians, there is something I want you guys to hear in about 20 minutes. If you weren't angry before about losing to Detroit, if anybody wants to talk about, there's no rivalry here, wait till you hear some of the victory celebration from Detroit. We'll do that in roughly 20 or so minutes. It's Lima in, along with Dale Ryder in for Ken Carman. We've got Mitch, we've got Owen, Jeff Thomas in the back, and Joey doing the videos. We've been sending a bunch of those out today. Daryl, you had a video that someone had some fun with. I'll explain in a little bit. You heard Dylan Gabriel, right? You heard the levels of just sounded like a pro's pro, right? And that's what they like about him, too. Yep. And he
speaks their language.
Well, and when somebody has started as many games in college, what was it, 64?
I believe, yeah. But he's also been at 2 big-time programs, right?
Yes.
He has a doctorate in college football.
Yeah, so he knows. He's spent the time there. That's why Kevin Stefanski got the line in about Tommy Boy. But all of that is one thing to say, hey, a lot of college experience. Great. DTR had a lot of college experience. I'll tell you what might have moved me a little bit. And I know I'm not normally this naive. I don't get hung up on press conferences. Listen,
but you know what you do. You always say you don't get caught. No. You don't get to play that card with me.
Never.
You always say, I don't get bent out of shape with press conferences. You can't win me in a You always get. You're sold this morning on the press conferences after what you were listening to Kevin Stefanski, listening to Myles Garrett, listening to you're all aboard. So don't give me this
let me ask
about.
You.
I don't get bent out of shape. I'm above that. You know, I'm much more sophisticated than that.
Well, let's let the listeners and the viewers on YouTube Live, let's let them all take in this quote from Myles Garrett and tell me that team is not fired up and confident about Sunday and the Vikings.
I mean, he runs the offense like this is his offense, and that's all you can ask for from any quarterback. You know, he comes out, smile on his face, chest out, gives a call. And it looks like he's been doing it for years, the way he manages the offense. So I'm looking for him to doing the same thing on Sunday.
I make fun of Ken Carman all the time for overreacting to things I hear. I call him a homer. I call him delusional at times when it comes to the Browns. I'm the one that restores some semblance of honesty and normalcy. That folks, the Browns are going to be 2-3 after this week in Minnesota. Fire it up.
There
it's
you
a
go.
win.
There you go.
It's a win. Carson Wentz, I've already guaranteed a strip sack. Fumble recovery. I'm not sure Myles Garrett will recover the fumble that he causes.
They might. So you're saying the Vikings might keep it?
No. We're gonna get
the ball.
it. We're gonna get it.
But are the Browns going to return it for a touchdown? They're going to take it to the house. Are you willing to go that
get
far?
Get on the Jets.
You want to get crazy?
Are we getting a scoop and score?
You want to get crazy?
Might as well put Schlesinger on the blitz. He picks it up. He
you know
scores
what?
a point.
I'm guaranteeing the scoop and score.
Might as well.
Why not?
Why not? While we're throwing them against the wall.
I'm pulling an Anthony Lima. I just heard those press conferences. Let's go all in. All the chips to the middle of the table.
I was very careful all week. I've been making the national rounds because Ken's in Disney. No,
congratulations to you on all your
Ken wasn't
success.
responding most likely. I did Dan Dockich. I did
see the Zach Gelb one.
Zach Gelb, yes. I went on Zach Gelb
You were
national
on video
radio
for that one, too.
I did video. We had a lot of fun. And I said, the fans in Cleveland keep telling me it can't get worse. Flacco is so bad it can't get worse. And I'm like, well, buckle up. And you know what? It's the end of the week, and they seem like a pretty confident bunch. I think I might have been wrong earlier in the week.
And what was the one message that I know Ken brought it up, but a lot of people have brought it up about why they would stay with Joe Flacco, and it was to not lose the veterans on the team, right?
Yeah.
It was that
Guilty.
Yeah. It was to not lose
that.
veterans on the team, and now you have the highest paid player on the team minus you know who, but NFL Defensive Player of the Millennium right now saying that he has confidence in the rookie who it looks like he's been running the offense his whole life.
He's been paid $40 million also to say that.
No. I think Miles...
He doesn't have to say that.
I don't think Miles is that guy, Daryl. I think sometimes he's another one you can read between the lines. Maybe he'll say the right thing, but you can kind of tell. Like, that was not damning with faint praise. That not in that case. I didn't feel that way. I felt like he believed it.
I'm just, throwing that out there as a possibility. I'm not saying that's what he did.
Well,
I'm just saying it is a possibility.
Respectfully, Daryl, I'll agree to disagree.
All right,
that's fine.
Let me ask you this.
Just throwing it out there as a scenario.
I think Dylan Gabriel's heard a lot of the noise.
It's been a rough morning for me. Let's just put it that way.
I think Daryl...
Between that and the muffins.
I think
I'm taking strays left and right this morning.
Well, I think Dylan Gabriel has heard the noise. I think Dylan Gabriel has had to see Shedeur Sanders amplified every single day. People think even he's taking shots at Shedeur, which I think is kind of crazy
He did
conspiracy.
say perfect time. Come on.
Yeah, we can find any meaning in anything, I guess. But he's heard all of that. And how is he taking that? Is it in stride? How is he processing that? How is he able to eliminate the distractions and all that negativity? Well, listen to his answer when questioned about all the criticism.
For me, I've always lived by I'd rather be uninformed than misinformed, and everyone has the right to their opinion, and I understand that, but I don't necessarily block out the noise. I just choose not to be a part of it. I think that's just a singular focus, and emotional regulation of there's a job to do, and there's something that you just want to focus on and do it at a high level. Like I said, I respect everyone's opinion, and everyone, can say whatever they want. It's freedom of speech.
So, Daryl, he's saying he does respect your opinion, but he also heard the noise.
By the way, is based on what I see with my 4 eyes.
Okay.
I'm just saying, my opinion is formulated by what I was observing, and what I was observing was like the other 39 guys that came before. Actually, 40 guys came before. He had some tough and rough practices, and he was getting first team reps. He was getting starter reps during camp, and he wasn't doing anything with them. It's hard to miss. Then, again, I gave him his credit. Preseason, performed pretty well in those preseason games.
Is he a gamer? Is maybe not a practice guy. Maybe he's a gamer.
That might be the thing, Anthony. He might be a bad practice quarterback, and he might be a great game quarterback. We're going to find out on Sunday.
No better way to do it. And then, Daryl, might be a crow-eating session on Monday when you join us.
Hey, I'm rooting for him. I am not rooting against him. I am rooting for him. I really am.
I mean, I've ripped him too. I've ripped him a ton.
He's extremely undersized, okay? Which, let's be honest about it, makes life awfully difficult.
Although someone pointed out in my mentions yesterday, he is bigger than Kyler Murray.
Yes. But
Take that, Kyler.
What was that look? What'd you give me that look for, Owen?
The guy that you wanted here for years, the guy that you said, look at the way that Kyler Murray runs an offense, and he's going to be the face of the league, and you told me all that
That's
stuff.
probably because he smoked us twice.
Did you just drop a take that Kyler, Owen?
Yeah.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Well, I was told I'm not a good listener, so I'm working on my listening skills.
I'm going to get you back
this morning.
into it. It's okay.
All right.
Let's go to Frank in Cleveland. Go ahead, Frank. Welcome to the show.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
Hey, man, I don't know why y'all tripping, man. The man ain't nothing really wrong with the man. He's just short. If he's 6'3", we not even having this conversation, and y'all can't tell me I'm lying. that one interception he threw in preseason where he threw the receivers ran the wrong routes. But what I was saying, I like the way he commanded the offense. They was listening to him, man. But give the man a chance, man.
Does it pump you up, Frank?
Huh?
Does him playing quarterback, starting at quarterback this week, pump you up?
I mean, I'm excited. I'm a little excited. You know what I'm saying? I really don't care who quarterback. My grandmother could be quarterback. I just need somebody that's going to make me win, man. I'm just tired of losing. So we on to the next chapter, man.
There it is. Yeah. Whether it's Frank's grandmother or whether it's Dylan Gabriel this week, Frank's on board.
No disrespect to Frank's grandma, but I hope we don't see Frank's grandma
I don't know.
this season.
Is she taller than Dylan Gabriel? I don't know.
She's got to be taller than Kyler Murray at least.
Let's continue on with the phones. Coming in hot. Are we doing it? Can I run it by the advisory board?
We're doing it.
Can I run it by the task force?
How many more strays does Daryl catch this morning?
This could
That's
be
the only reason I wanted it.
Don't issue him a challenge, Daryl.
I've put out the warrants to the stray brigade. They're going to get you, dude.
How many of a certain football family down in Florida is going to be having fun today?
I did forget for a moment. We don't exactly go to commercial break quickly on camera.
We're going to have a word about that coming up a little bit later on. Greg in Kent. Let's keep it going. Greg, how are you?
Pretty good. Hey, Anthony, Daryl, I think Gabriel's gonna ball out this week, man.
I hope you're right. Hope you're
Listen
right.
to this.
All right, Greg, I hope you're right.
Like, look, we got one of the best defenses. I think any quarterback in practice is gonna look crappy.
You got to do it, Greg. Super Bowl! Super Yeah! Thank you, Greg. See, Kenny was with us in spirit today. He called in earlier. If you missed it. Look, we could have done a
sad... They haven't scored three touchdowns on offense all season. He's getting 3 on Sunday. Wow.
If all of a sudden they're putting up 20-plus points.
Man. If they score 20 points on Sunday.
But I'm not including the strip sack fumble recovery for touchdown.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even including that.
Now we're up to 28.
Now we're up to 28, 29, 30.
Smits has it locked in now, right? He hadn't missed one since he missed in week 1.
He did miss the 56.
Yeah,
I didn't watch that game.
Come on, that was a long one. That was a long one.
I'm just trying to keep things factual, Owen.
Did you see the 49ers winning kick that just squeezed right around in there?
And I'd rather be uninformed than misinformed.
216-474-0092. I'm being told now Ken has approved it. It looks like we're doing Coming in Hot today.
Nice.
Okay? It looks like Coming in Hot, final segment of the show.
Hey, but it's got to be good. Or
it's got to be good.
We'll end it. And
you want
Anthony's
a diabolical question?
And of course, you got to keep it within the boundaries of good taste. It's very important.
Yes.
See?
That's one of the caveats.
And when we come back, I know, Guardian season's over. We had a real moment earlier on the show. Owen was getting feisty. Owen was calling people out. We had other people calling the Dolans out. But could the rivalry be back? Detroit and Cleveland, a baseball rivalry. Wait till you hear what one of those jerks in Detroit had to say. That's all straight ahead on Sports Radio 92.3, The Fan, XTENDAV.com.
hard because you know that room's going to look different. It's the way it works everywhere. This will be the last time those guys are all in the same room, and there's no ending of the season. It doesn't end gradually. It just halts. We've been with each other every day for 8 months, more time with each other than our family, working together, laughing together, crying together, yelling together, you name it, and now it stops. I had so much fun with this group. Their resilience, everything they went through, they didn't let it faze them. And that's a special group of human beings in there.
All right, that was Stephen Vogt. The Guardians eliminated yesterday. It got tensious in here very early in the show. We had...
Well, you call it early. I call it an hour later than it should have been. But, hey.
Better late than never.
Potato. Hey,
our audience grows over the course of the show, my friend. So you were hitting the sweet spot. Daryl Ryder in for Ken Carman. Ken will return on Monday. Coming in hot. We are about 20 minutes away with Daryl in studio. What an opportunity. YouTube Live, you get to see Daryl react to Coming in Hot on YouTube. You get to see the video.
They've been coming in hot already.
I mean, what? You were eating a muffin and you didn't realize it?
I think he knew he was eating the muffin.
I know. I knew I was eating the muffin. I went and got another one. I'm still hungry. Yeah, I was eating. I didn't realize that. I was like, "Oh, we're in commercial break. Perfect. I can stuff my face with a muffin." And apparently, we weren't in commercial break on the video.
No, there's always a little bit of a lag time. So if you want to see a host pick their nose, you want to see a host potentially flick it.
So would you be offended if I just
no, go do
started eating this right now?
I'll take care of the radio part of this. You can handle the video.
We'll include it on our year-end video and review that we do. We do it every year.
Yeah,
we'll put this one in.
We're gonna do a montage.
Me shoving a delicious blueberry muffin in my face.
I mean, that's muffin number 2, Daryl.
It is.
So don't get carried away here.
I think I've got the room for it.
Watch out, Ken. There's a new muffin man in town. And his name's Daryl.
And I know him, so that's the difference. All right, so it sucked.
That's really good.
It sucked. Yes. Just going to go ahead and talk on the radio with a mouthful of muffin.
Stuffing with Daryl
That's
Ryder.
right. And then, by the way, the muffin top as well. He's got both of them.
You got to have it.
It was bad yesterday. There's no way around it. And as awesome as wiping away 15 and a half games was, is his equal amounts suck when you lose. Maybe even more. I don't know. Did losing the way you did, erase some of that? I know Ken said last week that it's not going to, no matter what happened in the playoffs, it wasn't going to take away from 15 and a half.
The playoffs were gravy to me.
And well, okay, you say that, but holy cow, the response is we put up the video of Owen talking about the importance of just having a team, having something to create memories with, having 33 plus nights this year. And supporting a team no matter whether they're good, whether they're bad. And you got into that, and I think that is a larger scale question that I think we're all confronted with. We're in Sports Talk Radio. We as hosts, we talk about championships and playoffs, and it's about making history and putting the chips in the middle of the table and going all in. And then you remember, most seasons aren't that. I mean, one team wins it every year. You have teams like the Padres, $200+ million payroll, done. You've got teams like the Yankees, $200+ million payroll, vanquished. You have the Rangers, didn't even get into the postseason. They're done. I mean, we can do this dance. The Mets, $300 million payroll, whatever it was, didn't even make the playoffs. And yet we're all sitting around here screaming about what our team didn't do and what our ownership didn't do. Owen made it a passionate plea that there's more to sports than just that. Now, we heard all that. Oh, and that's fine. It was great. It resonated with a lot of people. But you lost to Detroit, and now you have jackasses like Kerry Carpenter, who batted .400 in the series, and he had 4 hits, and, yesterday he drove one in finally.
The guy that's not the greatest in the regular season, he's okay, but he seems to kill us, man.
He batted .252, I think, this year. Is that what he batted? Anyway, 250. Listen,
you were close.
Listen to what Kerry Carpenter had to say, and then you tell me there's no rivalry with Detroit.
This rivalry has turned into something bigger than maybe even you guys expected a year and a half ago. To come through after what they did to you guys last year, how much sweeter is it this time around here?
It's really sweet. And, we hear a lot about 15 and a half games, but we're going to Seattle and they're not, so it's pretty special.
And, you hear that, and it's like, anybody but them. We beat them, right? We needed to go on this amazing run to get to the postseason. And
it's okay. The Mariners are going to end their season anyway.
We'll see. I mean, you never know. You never know.
Well, it gives you a reason to cheer for Josh Naylor again, right?
Hell
yes,
yeah.
It does.
Hell yeah, it's a great point, Owen.
Well, I have family that lives in Seattle, so I will definitely
You love
be
Fish
rooting for them.
Market's family and Josh Naylor, and that's cool.
There you
man.
go.
It's a big reason to cheer for.
It's a trifecta.
I mean, we got into it wasn't a debate, but at the end of last week, it was like, who do you want to play?
Yeah.
You know, we had matched up with Detroit so many times, and we had gotten, I'd say we got the best of School Bowl. Like, we barely hit them, but we beat them twice.
But our team didn't implode on themselves.
Right.
And then he had 14 strikeouts in the playoff game, right?
Yeah.
9 times. And I talked about it a little bit yesterday about, man, it's, they've seen each other so much over the last couple of weeks. It's not like the last time we played them was in July before all the streaking started and all that, right? So it was tough. There was part of me that, as I watched this weekend, was really mad at the Astros for not holding up their end of the bargain, because the Astros took themselves out of the playoffs. They played the Angels to end the season, and Detroit had to play the Red Sox, to just get in. And Detroit didn't win their last 2 games, but it didn't matter.
Right, they punted because they wanted School Bowl in game 1. They punted on having home field advantage and winning the division.
And that's part of the deal. When you just got to win 2 games, and you've got 2 really good starters and another starter that you can trust.
And they did. Yeah, we were basically throwing like a bullpen game. Obviously we had starters, but...
Well, you had Saccone, who had, in the season, I remember we had those conversations. Is he going to be the ace, right? Like, we had conversations about that. You also had games where he gave up 6 runs in the first 2 innings. And, I mean, it's going to happen. Yesterday, Vogt was questioned a ton for pulling him when he did, right? He brings in Tim Herron in the 3rd inning, and
then Cantillo.
Yeah.
What really stung is, man, these games were hard to watch, I thought, because both teams, man, every ball in the infield was a roller coaster. Like, I've never seen first baseman get pulled off the bag as many times.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think it was hard to watch. I think if you're a really nuanced baseball fan, you saw a lot of competition in each play, right?
I don't know. Every fly ball that got hit and chased the ladder's direction, I was paying extra attention to.
Hard to watch was game 1 when you've got guys like John Kinsey Noel over swinging on
shot.
pitches, right?
Yeah.
That was a hard to watch game to me. These last 2 at least had, for better or worse, yesterday's drama we did not come out on the beneficial side of, but the last 2 games especially, and they were more like what we saw, especially throughout the month of September with the Guardians, where
they weren't annihilating teams.
It's, even game 2, it sucked. We sat there with 2 hits going into the 8th, and then they have the hit parade, and they get the home runs and all that, and they end up getting the big win in game 2. Baseball's different. Baseball is not football. We'll keep saying that, but the shortness of the season of football, the amount of times that you get to be in person for those games, it's just way different. You have to find an appreciation for baseball. And I understand why some people weren't back in until, mid-September. They didn't give a lot of people reason to be back in, especially when you're looking at the standings and when you go out on West Coast trips and it's hard to, see the game. And they not only lost the 10 in a row, but they also lost 9 of 10 after that. Makes it really hard for a casual fan to get in. I'm not going to sit here and downplay casual fans. I don't find myself as a casual fan. That's why it was a little different for me, and that's okay.
It was a pretty boring offense this year, right? I mean,
you're
that's
right.
And that's why it was hard for fans to really get on board. And it's part of the reason I had said that even if they get in the playoffs, they aren't going anywhere. They're not a threat to anyone because of their offense, and that's what they've got to figure out this offseason, whether it's internally, which you and I
also said Monday with us, you never know. You're in the playoffs and you never know. So that's been a different message. But you got a guy like Bo Naylor who batted .295 over the last month of the season to pull his average up to 190 something, right? Like that, you're right. That sucks. That means you're batting like 80. Like 0-8-0.
You had half your lineup not able to get off the interstate during the regular season when it comes to their batting average. I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot to get excited about there. But you got. I was talking to a gentleman works in the building downstairs. The Guardians gave us a good 6 weeks. We got a good, fun 6 weeks out of them. Down the stretch, late August through the month of September.
It was amazing 6 weeks. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was amazing what they did. My question is long term, like, how are we going to feel about it? It's the day after the season ends. People are in their emotions, and people are losing their minds. They're calling all of us, Dolan apologists because we accepted something less than a World Series title. I think it's tough to watch sports if that's how you're watching. Like, if every day I'm comparing the Browns to a Super Bowl champion and every day the Cavs, who are a contender, so they are the bar is going to be higher for the Cavs, and they've all talked about it, so I think it's fair. But, in the end, even LeBron was here for 11 years. He won one title.
Yeah.
LeBron doesn't win the title every year. He gives you a chance, but he wins. He's only won 4 titles in his career.
Yeah, greatest player of the generation, and he's only won 4, and the Cavs only got 1. Like, I think about that for a second. Now, granted, the Cavs are somewhat complicit into only winning 1, but still, it's not easy. And with these expanded playoffs, I said it earlier in the show, the fact that now that they've added this wild card round to this, that's another layer you got to get through. Like, it's even harder now to win a World Series.
And you can't have a stumble. You can't have a bad day.
No. And here's the other element, though. Okay, let's say the Guardians, just for sake of conversation, right? Let's say they were good enough to get that first round bye like Seattle did. I don't know. Do you even really want to have a bye and have your whole rhythm thrown off and you're sitting around waiting for somebody for a week? Because we've seen that where you've gotten the bye and you end up getting blown out that way too.
Well, other teams' hitters are finding a rhythm.
Yeah.
You can make the argument that Detroit by the end of the series.
I'd rather play games. I would rather play games
and
keep
you saw
that
a lot
going.
of those teams on the bye. They had their simulated things. It's not the same thing.
No, it's not.
I could tell you the only thing that I think might have benefited is maybe Vogt would have seen the light on Jonathan Rodriguez and not let him bat in game 1. Maybe that happens, but who knows?
Oh, we
had that last year too. The season was a mirror opposite of last season, right? Started hot in 2024. Was 500 down the stretch, and they got the bye, right? And it took everything to get past Detroit that year. This year it was started off slow and got hot at the end, and still Detroit. It's a wash to me on which season I'd rather have.
We learned 2 very important things. I'm a positive spin here. Going forward, though, we learned 2 very important things. 1, John Kenzie Noel should never play first base. Jonathan Rodriguez should not play right field.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's turn this around.
Yes.
Positive, important information going into 2026. Let's not ever do that again.
I agree with you. My other positive, and it's an actual positive and not a negative, that's a positive. But I agree with you on those 2, by the way. You had a guy like Kyle Manzardo who I didn't know if he was going to be a true big leaguer, right? You can have a season. We see that a lot. John Kenzie Noel had, a month last year, and we thought he was a real big leaguer. He's not. Kyle Manzardo's a real big league DH, that can play first every once in a while in games that you don't absolutely have to have. So I'm excited for that.
By the way, Gavin Williams went toe-to-toe with Schoolboy.
That's
it's
right.
Totally
we
forgotten.
might have also found our true ace again, right?
And Bybee didn't totally have it, but was still, you could see.
Bybee in September was a different Bybee.
Yeah, that's a good point. Chris in Chicago. How are you, Chris?
I'm disappointed, proud of the team. I guess out of the 3 Cleveland teams, the Guardians are my favorite. Although I like each team. And that's the thing, too. I know you guys, for sports radio, it's good. Like, hey, Browns fans versus Cavs fans versus Guardians fans. I'm a Cleveland fan, and I just hope most of the fans are like that, where you don't have to pick on one team because you like the other one a little bit better. But I'm going off on a different diatribe. I'm proud of the team, though. Look back a month and a half ago, or go back to, I was listening to Owen back in July when he was saying, hey, there's a chance that they can put a push together, and they did. It's just mixed emotions, and I'm older. I'm 57. I was a big fan in the 90s. It doesn't get any easier when your team gets knocked out, and the years are shorter for me. I want to see a World Series one of these days, so to me, that's no fun either, but just a bunch of mixed emotions, but I'm proud of them. At least they put the effort through, and they won the division, and, there's next year.
All right, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. All right, do we want to open up the phones? Do we want to get them going? We have coming in hot. Next segment, 216-474-0092 with the added treat of getting to see Daryl Ryder on camera react to coming in hot.
Maybe you were down in Orlando this week, too. Maybe you saw Ken. Maybe you have a report for us.
Maybe you do. That's right. Ken at the Magic Kingdom. Imagine all of that. Maybe we don't have to. Well, maybe we don't have to, and that's what Coming in Hot is for. Coming up next on Sports Radio 92.3, The Fan. Anthony Line before.
Soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Listen to every snap of Dylan Gabriel's debut on Sunday.
Gabriel shotgun, pump fake, throws, end zone for the touchdown.
Your number one source for breaking news. Stream us at work. 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app and 92.3thefan.com.
Before we get to coming in hot, and I'm excited, and Ken's going to be listening. He's at the airport. We got to have a nice send-off for our buddy down the hall, Slats. Anybody who's listened to 98.5 WNCX over the years, we are saying goodbye to Slats after an amazing 42 years in the biz and 21 in Cleveland, 14 here with this company at NCX. I had some great stories, man. He worked with Lanigan and Webster back in the day. I would get these great old-timey radio stories about when the biz was fun and guys doing blow in the bathroom before they were doing some of their on-air stuff.
Just
and
before we move
reckless
speculation. We're talking about way back in the day, and not here, of course.
Anthony Lyman, 2019.
Other radio stations. I don't even know that guy anymore. Oh, and anyway... Slats, it is his swan song today. He is calling it a career, and he is heading to the open seas. You'll see him in Avon. You'll still be able to check him out at a watering hole near you in Avon when he's not traveling, which he's got like 32 cruises coming up.
He's going to be one of those people that just lives on the cruise ship now because it costs cheaper than living in California.
Yeah,
Have
you know
seen
what?
those stories?
Oh, absolutely. And I've also seen... documentaries like the Poop Cruise and the girl that clearly got thrown off the one cruise or smuggled out. We still don't know what happened there, but hopefully that won't happen to Slats. And he's retiring young, so he's going to have many, many great years ahead of him. And we had a card that we had to sign, and I asked, is it cool? Could Owen have signed the card for Ken? Since Ken's never going to see him again. He's never going to cross paths.
Of course.
Slats wouldn't have known. He doesn't know how great his handwriting is.
Hieroglyphics in, right? And I don't know if I can pull that off.
His calligraphy.
Yes.
Yeah. You ready for coming hot? Anyway, so long, Slats. It's been,
See ya, Slats.
Been great working with you and competing against him.
All right, Cleveland, it's time to get whatever you want off your chest. Cleveland, you're coming in hot. The phone lines are open now.
Here we go. Guys, it better be good or Daryl's got a diabolical Daryl question for you if we have to cut this segment short. Just be aware. So Daryl has to come up with something. Line 1, coming in hot. Line 1, we're dumping line 1. Let's get to line 72. You're coming in hot.
Hey, Anthony. According to my records, back in February, I called up and I meowed Amazing Grace to you. And my dog passed away on Monday, so I thought it'd only be fair. If you wanted to, like, yip Danny Boy or howl Taps, I thought I'd give you that opportunity.
Do we have rough, 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 rough? Rough, 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 rough. I feel bad. We did when Milo passed away. That was so sweet.
We had a 21 flea collar salute.
You ever do the flea bombs?
Every day of my life.
That was not fun.
Beatboxes and flea bombs.
Line 4, you're coming in hot.
Hey, friends, where's Ken? There was no food shortage at Disney, so he wasn't here. Anyway... Of course, Chase DeLauder dropped that ball. It was his first game. It was the playoffs. And the sun was right in his eye.
Coming in hot. Let's go. Let's go.
Hear about Guards Bowl.
Let's go back to the phones. You're on coming in hot. Go ahead.
I got to say that the fans out there that do not understand baseball, we put together a season here with Bieber live.
That's a take. Devos. That's a take. That's not coming in hot.
Oh, it's you.
You had 3.5 hours for the takes.
You're driving to Green Bay, I'm sure, this weekend.
That's true. He's got a big game. I'm surprised he's not in London. Congratulations on his success. Yeah. Line 5, you're coming in hot.
Hey, ho, Andrew Barry has got to go. Hey, ho, Andrew Berry has got to go.
He's got a good rookie class. What do you want?
I like it when they do it faster. Hey.
Ho, ho.
Andrew Berry has got to go. But, do it your own way.
Line 6, coming in hot.
How does that L taste? Feel the pain.
You feeling the pain, Daryl?
No, actually, I'm pretty good. Just had my second blueberry muffin.
He did. He just scarfed it down. Line
Inhaled
2,
it.
You're coming in hot.
Hey, good morning. Paul Curlington here, Chief Creative Officer for one of Cleveland's 6,000 T-shirt companies. I need your help coming up with some new ideas. How about this one? Cornelius Lucas and K.C. Leviston, the Kansas State Connection. And you spell connection with the K. What about this one? Time to go home, Bubba Ventrone. All right, if that's not enough, you like this one? It's time to move on from a guy named DeWand. And finally, football's more thrilling when your quarterback's a third-round overdrafted pick named Dylan. Any thoughts, guys? That's 4 good ideas.
The first one, how many Ks were in there?
He said KC Levis.
Okay, line 4, you're coming in hot.
Kenny, I miss your chubby voice this morning, and all I got to say is Super Bowl!
Super Browns!
Oh, my God, Marsha.
Because apparently I'm the bad boy.
Yeah! Line 3, you're coming in hot. Welcome to the show.
That's 2 for me this morning.
That's 2. Go ahead.
So, it's going to be a great weekend. We got breakfast and football. What goes better with that? Going to be dipping my sausage, egg, and cheese burritos in some Daisy dip. Nom, 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 nom. And I just want to say, let's go, Dylan Gabriel. Super Bowl!
Super Browns! Yeah! All
That's
right.
3 for me this
You're
morning.
Firing them up. Line 1 coming in hot.
Yeah, when are they going to understand that we're sick and tired of hearing about next year so the Browns can gear up for next year? We've been hearing that for 60 years.
You like that one? Is that another take?
Do your Browns takes on the Browns part of the show.
All right, I can take 3. Les Levine says I can take
19 hours and 40 minutes.
Les says I could take 3 more. Coming in hot. Go ahead.
Oh, that's good. Glad you talked.
Yeah, catch an extra boy. Let's go, Browns. Let's go, Browns!
They know the game is Sunday. I know we had them fired up earlier, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Go ahead. You're next on Coming in Hot.
Or not.
Let's go to line 69. You're coming in hot. Go ahead.
When the Browns heard that Bad Bunny would be at the halftime show this year, the entire organization, including the players, unanimously agreed to be bad so they wouldn't have to witness the show live in February.
Daryl, have you heard any more of Taylor Swift?
No, but I am reading articles about the Easter eggs in the album. And then apparently there's a streaming something or other hitting one of the streaming platforms, a 90-minute documentary or something. I'm not a Swiftie. My sister is. She's all about Taylor Swift and
Daryl,
Travis Kelce. But
first Bad Bunny, now Easter eggs.
What more do we got? Let's hop to our next caller. Go ahead. Line 1, you're coming in hot.
It won't be long till the game is won, till it's kickoff time in the big fog sun. Dylan's back, it's gonna be fun. Daryl's wrong again.
Daryl's wrong again. What is this? What are these lyrics where she talks about what happens in the bedroom with Travis Kelce? I did not expect her.
Oh, come on.
I did not expect her to do that. One final call. You're coming in hot. Go ahead.
Let's go, Cavs. Let's go, Cavs. Let's go, Cavs.
Daryl, you were at Media Day, weren't you? Final one. Coming in hot.
Oh, boys, it's me, Mickey Mouse. I saw Ken down here, and he was wearing a Yankee hat and also a Steeler jersey. Tell that guy to go back home.
It's very sad. We'll get Kenny back on Monday. Kenny will be back.
He'll have to answer for that on Monday.
Are we going to be celebrating the Dylan Gabriel era kicking off with a victory in London and a new Browns season? I just saw they were plus 1,800 to win the division with all the other teams looking shaky. Pittsburgh a little lucky so far this year. You imagine they win this weekend, it's a season reset. Everything changes. Every conversation we've had about the Browns changes dramatically. Appreciate Owen weathering the storm there, the early part of the show as well as 8 o'clock hour. Daryl Ryder who will join us on Monday on the show. We thank everybody for being a part of it. And coming up next, it's Baskin and Phelps. And once again, so long Slats after 42 years. Congrats on making history here in Cleveland at WNCX.
It's Tall Boy Friday.
And it's a Tall Boy Friday.
And making sure that you're not booing, but you clap.
Vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show. Bye, honey. Have a great day.
It's time for some commercials.